Chapter 988. They changed the guards. Zhao Xianqi observed for a while and said in a deep voice, "These people aren't your people?" Han Miao Shuang asked. Xiaochang Tian's expression wasn't good either. "Aren't you the president and alliance master? These people aren't your men?" Little Seven asked. "These people don't look familiar." Zhao Xianqi said, "They shouldn't be from the Union. Since you're not from the Union, why are you here? It must be the work of a traitor." Han Miao Shuang said, "If that's the case, can we go in? Will it be dangerous inside?" "Let's give it a try," Redcoat said. "What if you don't open the door?" Mao San Quan continued. "Based on the situation we saw earlier, they've taken control of the entire city. So, if they don't recognize your faces, you too will die if you go there now." Sima Yue said, "Anyway, the people in the city won't know if we kill you here." "What a straightforward little fellow." Yue is right. "If I kill you outside, the people inside won't know." Mao San Quan said, "Moreover, they have more people here. Although you have your own people, I think they won't be as fast as the other party." "That's true," Redcoat said. "When you're not around, they have to listen to those people's orders." "Then we're not going in?" Zhang Ming asked. "Think of a way to get in," Gao Jihong said. "As long as we get in, they won't dare to deny it in front of everyone." "You'll have to get there first," Zhang Fei said. "And if we want to find out the real culprit, we have to create a commotion here so that those people can be prepared. There are only a few spies with power. It's not hard to find them," Xiaochang Tian said. "But it's impossible to find all of them. Therefore, you can only enter secretly." "That's impossible," Zhao Xianqi said. "If it was so easy to sneak into Cloud Sea City, then it wouldn't be a mysterious city." "Mysterious city?" Sima Yue looked at Wu Lingyu, hoping that he would tell her more about it. "Most people only know that Cloud Sea City is the location of the Alchemist Guild and the Pill Alliance, but they don't know where it is." Wu Lingyu said, "Usually, it's impossible to enter even if you want to. There were tight formations and barriers here. You have to know that they are also very familiar with the people from the Array Masters Guild." "What if I want to sneak in?" Sima Yue asked. "There's no doubt that it will be discovered. People from any faction, it's useless if the Celestial Emperor is here." Wu Lingyu shrugged. "Wasn't this nonsense? Is there an Imperial Emperor now?" She glared at Wu Lingyu. When she turned around, she saw Mao San Quan looking at her with burning eyes. "Director Mao, why are you looking at me like that?" She shrunk her neck. "You have a way for them to sneak in, right?" 10 minutes later, they passed through the clouds and arrived at the bottom of the city wall. At this time, there were only people from the Sea Star Palace and the sect. "If we go in like this, how will the Dean and the others go in?" Zhang Ming asked. "You'll know when the time comes." Mao San Quan said, "Let's go into the city now." When they arrived at the city gate, the guards at the city gate noticed them immediately. "Who is it?" "We're back." Mao San Quan said, "Don't tell me that you won't recognize us after 10 days. Invitation." Mao San Quan opened the invitation and the symbol appeared. "Open the door." The city gate slowly opened. Mao San Quan led the people in. The city gate closed immediately. "Go and tell the president that these people are back." The captain of the guards called someone over and ordered. "Yes." The guard accepted the order and left. "I didn't expect them to come back alive. Could it be that things have changed?" Mao San Quan and Zhang Fei went to the Pill Alliance. Sima Yue and Han Miao Shuang went back to the inn. "You're finally back. If you didn't come back, we would be worried to death." Fu Xiao Dai, the only female alchemist other than Yu and Han Miao Shuang. When she saw them coming back, she quickly went up to them. When the other students and teachers saw them, they came down from upstairs. "What's wrong?" Sima Yue saw their worried faces and asked, "Did something happen?" "Nothing happened to us. We heard that you went outside. We also heard that the people who went out didn't come back." Fu Xiao Dai said, "You left for so many days. We were worried that you wouldn't come back." "Who did you hear it from?" Sima Yue asked. They didn't tell the other students about this. The people from the Pill Alliance and the Alchemist Guild wouldn't say it either. But they knew about it now. "When we went out earlier, we had a conflict with a lady in green clothes. Their people said it." Fu Xiaodai said. "Who is she?" "I think she's a young lady from the guild." Fu Xiaodai said. She said that she wanted her grandfather to disqualify us from the competition. A grandfather who can disqualify us from the competition? Seems like he has a lot of power. Sima US said. How did you offend her? Although they didn't have any contact with her, they could imagine what kind of lady she was. It's all my fault. She and I saw the same herb at the same time, and we had a conflict. Fu Xiaodai said. Now that Director Mao is back, nothing will happen. Sima US said. You don't have to care about those young ladies. Where's Director Mao? A teacher asked. He went to the Pill Alliance. You should be back soon. Sima Yue said. Then she said to Wu Lingyu, who was beside her, I'll get a room for you. No need. I'll just stay in your room. Wu Lingyu said. No, no. Two voices of objection sounded at the same time. One was Yue and the other was Little Seven. I'm staying with Yue. How can you kick me out? Little Seven said with her hands on her hips. You're a girl. If you want to stay with a girl, you can stay with your senior. Wu Lingyu said. There's so many rooms. You can find one yourself. Sima Yue objected. There are no more rooms here. Wu Lingyu said innocently. How do you know? I guessed. If you don't believe me, you can ask the shopkeeper. Sima Yue glanced at Wu Lingyu and looked behind the counter. The fat shopkeeper saw everyone looking over and saw Wu Lingyu twirling the ring on his finger. He smiled and said, I'm really sorry. We don't have any more empty rooms here. No more rooms? Didn't you say there were a few more? I heard you talking to the waiter just now. Fu Xiaodai said suspiciously. About that, it was booked by someone just now. The shopkeeper said, so we don't have any more rooms now. If you want to stay here, you can only squeeze in a little. Sima Yue looked at Wu Lingyu. He had a proud smile on his face as if he had guessed correctly. Chapter 989. In the end, there was no suspense. Little Seven was chased to Han Miao Shuang's side, and Wu Lingyu succeeded. Sima Yue could not help but shudder when she thought of the word superior. Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao followed Sima Yue at her room. Once the door was closed, both of them stared at Wu Lingyu. Who is he? Han Miao Shuang asked. They had to ask about this person's situation clearly. Their little junior sister couldn't be casually cheated away by others. They had to check carefully. Sima Yue looked at Wu Lingyu and wondered if she should reveal his identity. Wu Lingyu took off the illusion ring and returned to his original appearance. You are Wu Lingyu? When Han Miao Shuang saw Wu Lingyu, she couldn't remain calm. Did she recognize the wrong person? Or was she hallucinating? Junior sister's boyfriend was actually the holy son of the Sage Pavilion? It's the real deal. Wu Lingyu went forward and hugged Sima Yue. I heard from Yue that you guys took care of her. Thank you. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. This guy was acting like a saint again. About that, you're welcome. She's our junior sister. Han Miao Shuang stuttered. Senior sister, you don't have to be so dramatic, right? Sima Yue was speechless. You don't know this, but he's the only man she's ever praised before, Su Xiao said. Now that he's suddenly appeared in front of her, she must be very excited. Sima Yue widened her eyes and looked at Han Miao Shuang in disbelief. Wu Lingyu's pretentious act actually earned her praise? Was his disguise too good, or was she too easily fooled? But junior sister, you seem to have a grudge with the Sage Pavilion, right? Han Miao Shuang recalled Sima Yu's incident. She had heard her mention some things about the Sage Pavilion. But he's also my senior brother, Sima Yue said. Anyway, it's fine as long as he doesn't obstruct me when I'm doing something. Not only would he not obstruct her, he would even help her. Oh, that's good. Han Miao Shuang said, Sigh, why do I feel like my little girl has been kidnapped? I think it's better for me and junior sister to stay together. It's not good for you guys to be alone. Han Miao Shuang suddenly suggested. If you come in now, in the eyes of others, you'll be a single man and woman, Wu Lingyu said. All right, little junior sister, you bang. Han Miao Shuang's words were interrupted by the sound of a collision downstairs, followed by the shouts of the Alchemist Guild students. Let's go down and take a look. Sima Yue said as she ran down. Han Miao Shuang and the others followed. In the main hall of the inn, a table had been crushed into pieces. 2 students from the academy were lying on top of it, groaning as they clutched their chests. The others stood in the middle of the main hall, protecting Fu Xiaodai in the middle. At the entrance, a few guards from the Alchemist Guild cupped their fists, facing the academy students. A lady in green stood in front, holding a long whip in her hand. "Humph. I've said it before, as long as you guys are in this city, you won't be able to escape." Jean-Lu pulled the whip in her hand, looking at Fu Xiao Dai with contempt. Fu Xiao Dai squeezed through the academy students and came to the front. Facing Jean-Lu, she shouted coldly, "At that time, I was the one who chose the medicinal ingredient first. Not to mention that you snatched it away forcefully. Now you're beating people up. You're so unreasonable." "So what if I'm unreasonable?" Jean-Lu smiled evilly. "I have the capital, do you? If you have it, you could do it too." "You." Fu Xiao Dai was so infuriated by her thick skin that she was speechless. "What exactly do you want to do?" "Very simple. Kneel down in front of this young miss and say that you're wrong. You shouldn't have offended this young Mississippi. In the future, if you see this young miss, you should take a detour and call me Great Aunt a few more times, then I'll let you off." Jean-Lu said, "Don't even think about it." Fu Xiao Dai didn't even think about it and rejected. Asking her to kneel down in front of this person, that was impossible. "You're not willing? Then I'll beat you until you're willing." Jean-Lu said as she waved the whip in her hand towards Fu Xiao Dai. "Junior sister, move aside." The academy's people pulled Fu Xiao Dai aside, narrowly avoiding that attack. Jean-Lu's attack didn't hit her, and she said to the guards beside her, "Capture those people for me." Yes, young Mississippi. The Academy's people were all alchemist masters, and their abilities were originally lower than others. Now that they met these guards, they weren't their opponents at all. With just a pressure from them, they were unable to move. "Humph, I'll see where you can escape to this time." Jean-Lu gave a cold smile and continued to wave her whip. Fu Xiao Dai also took out her own weapon and went up, but there was a certain gap in their abilities, and she quickly fell into a disadvantageous position. Sima Yue looked at the scene below from upstairs and said, "I don't understand why those unruly young misses like to use whips. Don't tell me that this shows her unruly nature?" "Who knows?" Han Miao Shuang said, "I hate people who use whips the most." "Me too," Little Seven said. Watch me." Little Seven jumped down after saying that. "Don't kill her," Sima Yue shouted at her. Fu Xiao Dai was forced to the side of the wall. Seeing that Jean-Lu was about to swing her whip at her face, she stopped in front of her and heard Little Seven shout, "You still have the cheek to show off such an ugly whip." After Little Seven finished speaking, she grabbed the whip and pulled it forcefully. The entire whip was split into a few pieces. Little Seven's body is comparable to a spirit beast's. Han Miao Shuang saw Little Seven destroy a spirit weapon with her bare hands and sighed. Sima Yue felt that Little Seven was quite similar to her. She had also destroyed other people's whips the last time, and she was doing the same now. Jean-Lu didn't have time to react, and her spirit weapon was destroyed, especially since the other party was a child. She was stunned and shouted, "Who are you?" "I'm your little grandaunt." After Little Seven finished speaking, she kicked her stomach and sent her crashing onto a table. The table beneath her was smashed into pieces. The degree of smashing was similar to the Academy's smashing. "Young miss." The guards of the Alchemist Guild were enraged. Jean-Lu was beaten up in front of them. If this were to spread out, would they still have any face? They would definitely be punished when they returned. They attacked together. Regardless of whether Little Seven was a child or not, all the attacks were directed at Little Seven alone. Little Seven's figure flashed, and everyone only saw a blur in front of their eyes. Those guards were all sent flying to the streets outside. Ouch! Those guards fell heavily on the ground, and a few of them couldn't help but cry out. The people on the streets were shocked by the sudden situation. When they took a closer look, it was actually the people from the Alchemist Guild who were beaten up. They all hid at the side to watch the show. Beating up the guards of the Alchemist Guild in the Cloud Sea City was something that had never happened before. These people were probably going to be in trouble. They didn't know who was so ignorant. Chapter 990. In everyone's eyes, beating up the people from the Alchemist Guild was no different from pulling a tooth from the tiger's mouth. It was simply an act of seeking death. How many years has it been since something like this happened? At least, none of the people present had ever seen one before. How dare you hit my Alchemist Guild's people? The guard captain crawled up from the ground and shouted at Fu Shaodai and the rest. Little Grand Aunt is hitting you. Little Seven jumped out from the inn. She placed her hands on her hips and confronted them. Does your heavenly sect still think this is Heavenly Sect City? Jean Luer climbed up. Just you wait. I will definitely make you all die. You don't have the right to say whether or not we will die, but I know that if you don't scram, you will die. Seven said. Sima Yue walked out from inside and came to Little Seven's side. She looked at the people from the Alchemist Guild and said, We are here. If the Alchemist Guild really wants to deal with us unreasonably, we will welcome you anytime. Who are you? Jean Luer looked at Sima Yue. She didn't see her just now, but from the way Little Seven looked at her, she seemed to be the one who spoke here. If that was the case, then the reason why this little guy came to beat them up was all because of this person. Me? Sima Yue smiled evilly. Sky Heaven Academy. Sima Yue, you better remember this. I'll remember this. Just you wait. Let's go. After Jean Luer finished speaking, she led her men away in a sorry state. The surrounding people who were watching the show hadn't seen enough when they saw the people from the Alchemist Guild leave with their tails between their legs. They were extremely curious. In the past, they were all bossy and domineering. Why did they give up so easily today? The Heavenly Sect's people offended the Alchemist Guild. They're doomed. Just wait and see. They won't let this go so easily. We have something interesting to watch again. Those people were discussing about leaving. Many people had noticed them and were waiting to see a good show. Fu Shaodai came to Sima Yue's side and said, You don't have to be like this. This matter was originally directed at me. She saw the way Jean Luer looked at Sima Yue as if she wanted to eat her up. Now that she left like this, she would definitely find trouble with Yue in the future. What Little Seven did is no different from what I did. Sima Yue said, Besides, we're all from the academy. How can we watch you guys get bullied and not stand up for you? That's not the spirit of our academy. Thank you. Fu Shaodai looked at her, touched. No need to thank me. If Director Mao was here, he definitely wouldn't let anyone suffer. Sima Yue said, All right, let's go and see how the others are doing. Yes. Fu Shaodai nodded and went to check on the 2 injured students. Headmaster Yuan will be very happy if he knows that you protected the students of the academy. Sima Yue said as she hugged Little Seven's shoulders. Little Seven smiled. She had seen through her. She promised old Yuan that she would protect the students of the academy. This time, she had fulfilled her promise. Let's go in. Sima Yue hugged Little Seven and went in. When she went upstairs, Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao looked at her from the staircase. What's wrong, senior sister? You're a little strange. Han Miao Shuang said. Sima Yue usually didn't like to be in the limelight. But when she went out just now, it was obvious that she took the blame. Am I? Sima Yue smiled. Yes. Han Miao Shuang said confidently. What do you want to do? Nothing much. I'm just curious about the Alchemist Guild. I want to take a look. Sima Yue walked past them and went back to her room. Wu Lingyu didn't go out the whole time, but it didn't mean that he didn't know what was going on outside. He laid on the bed and supported his head with his right hand. His left hand beckoned her to walk over. Sima Yue sat down beside the bed. He sat up and hugged her from behind, asking, Why do you want to go to the Alchemist Guild? Guess. Sima Yue leaned on his chest and asked. It's definitely not to do something good. Wu Lingyu rested his chin on her neck and held her hand with both hands. Sima Yue pulled her hand out and played with his slender fingers, saying, When did I do something bad? No. You're always doing proper business. Wu Lingyu followed her words. Then tell me, what proper business do you have to do? Sima Yue smiled, saying, I want to take out the Bodhi mushroom. Before those old men go back, I want to settle this matter. Bodhi mushroom? What do you want that for? It's not me who wants it. It's Third MO who wants it. Sima Yue said. She told him about how she met Third MO when she just arrived. After Wu Lingyu heard this, he unhappily bit her shoulder, saying, Why are you so concerned about other men's matters? You say it as if I don't care about your matters. Sima Yue reached out and knocked his head. Do you need my help? Wu Lingyu asked. No need. You could just wait for me here. I'll be back tomorrow at the latest. You're so sure. If I don't come out tomorrow, you can come and pick me up. She believed that Mao San Quan wouldn't let her stay in there for too long. But since he was worried, it would be good to let him come. With the speed of the Alchemist Guild, they'll be here in half an hour. Sleep with me for a while. Wu Lingyu hugged Sima Yue and lay down. The two of them laid on the bed and chatted for a while. After half an hour, the people from the Alchemist Guild arrived. Where's Sima Yue and that little girl? Luo Ming brought people to the inn and shouted loudly in the hall. Io, Commander Luo is here. The innkeeper saw Luo Ming and came from behind the counter, saying, Is there anything I can do for you? Are Sima Yue and that little girl from the heavenly sect still here? Luo Ming didn't even look at him as he scanned the entire inn with his eagle eyes. Yes, yes. The innkeeper said, I'll get someone to call them. No need. We're here. Sima Yue and Little Seven came down from upstairs and looked at Luo Ming, saying, You guys are really slow. We've been waiting for you guys for so long. Seems like the efficiency of the Alchemist Guild isn't high. Beating up the guild's guards. This is unforgivable. Capture them. Luo Ming waved his hand, and those guards went forward to capture the two of them. Fu Xiao Dai and the rest want to come down, but were stopped by Han Miao Xuan. Don't worry, they'll be fine. Instructor Mao and the rest will be back soon. What right do you have to capture us? Sima Yue pretended to struggle. Because this is Cloud Sea City. Luo Ming sneered. Take them away. Let go, we can walk on our own. Sima Yue broke free from them and stared at Luo Ming, saying, You invited me in today. Don't regret it tomorrow. A mere heavenly sect doesn't have the right to make me regret. Take them away. Chapter 991. Read 336. Luo Ming waved his hand, and those people brought Sima Yue and Little Seven away. When the people outside saw that Sima Yue and Little Seven were taken away by the people from a union, some felt sorry for them, while some gloated over their misfortune. Like I said, offending the people of the union here is simply courting death. Sigh, I heard that the heavenly sect was already at odds with the academy. Originally, their position in the Pill Alliance was in jeopardy during this alchemy competition, and now they've been caught. Sigh, I'm afraid the academy is doomed this time. That may not be the case. The people of the heavenly sect are not easy to deal with. This time, it was Mao San Quan who came. Although he couldn't compare to Su Jin, it was said that when he got angry, he was also very irritable. He's also very protective of his students. Then there will be a good show to watch. Just wait and see. Sima Yue and Little Seven followed Luo Ming and the rest to the Alchemist Guild. They didn't go through the main entrance, but went through a back door. Take them to the prison. I'll go report to Mississippi. Luo Ming instructed the guard. Be careful. Don't let anyone else get close to you. Yes, Commander. Enjoy your life here. Luo Ming glanced at Sima Yue and Little Seven before the guards brought them away. They passed through 2 courtyards. Unlike the other courtyards, each courtyard had a large plot of land to grow some medicinal herbs. They walked around the courtyard and headed towards the prison. Little Seven held Sima Yue's hand and winked at her. Where are we going to do it? Sima Yue looked around. The location was rather remote, and there was no one around. With a thought, a faint fragrance floated around. Do you smell anything? A guard frowned and asked the person beside him. There seems to be some kind of fragrance, the man said. I didn't smell like this when I walked here before. Could there be something? That's not right. The man fell before he could finish his words. Before the others could figure out what was going on, they fainted as well. I'll go with you. Little Seven kicked the person beside her. You have to stay here and watch over them. Sima Yue said, Don't let anyone find out. Furthermore, you can't enter the enchantment barrier. All right then, I'll wait here. Little Seven agreed reluctantly. Sima Yue followed the route that the bees pointed out to her and avoided the patrolling guards. She successfully arrived at their so-called medicine garden. There was indeed a barrier. There was a slight fluctuation in the space. She called out Little Roar and fused with him before walking in. She looked at the herb garden and pursed her lips. The things here were really not that good. They were far worse than the ones in the Spirit Pagoda. There was nothing that she liked. There is. As As she was before. As. The soil was freshly plowed and the soil was still fresh. She followed Third Mo's instructions and dug a little. She saw a jade box. She picked up the jade box, but did not open it. She was afraid that the fragrance would attract attention. With a thought, she kept the box in her Spirit Pagoda and passed it to Third Mo. When she got up, she saw that a stalk of herb was covered in soil. She moved over and brushed the soil off. Then, she tidied up the leaves of the herb. That is the place where the Bodhi mushroom was planted. A warm voice sounded from behind. Sima Yue was shocked. She turned around and saw a man sitting on a wheelchair. He was smiling at her. Although he said he was looking, his eyes were not focused. He should be someone without problems. When did this person appear here? Why didn't she notice him? She wondered if he saw her digging for the Bodhi mushroom. She did not feel awkward or helpless after being caught in the act. She calmly sized up the person in front of her. His hands were casually placed on the armrests of the wheelchair. His beautiful face revealed a sickly fatigue. He looked at Sima Yue calmly. It was as if he saw her small movements. Who are you? When did you come? Sima Yue took 2 steps forward and looked at him cautiously. I have always been here. You just didn't notice. The man said, You can call me Xianxiu. Xianxiu? Sima Yue thought for a while. She had never heard of this name. She did not know who he was. Yes. Xianxiu smiled and nodded. You have always been here? Sima Yue asked. Yes. Xianxiu admitted. He did not say whether he saw her or not. What are you doing here? Smelling the herbs. Smelling the herbs? Sima Yue frowned. Did he smell the Bodhi mushroom and came here? Don't worry. I will not tell anyone about you. Xianxiu pointed out what she was worried about. He really saw it. No. How did he know what she was thinking? She looked at him and thought about how to deal with this. Your matters have nothing to do with me. Xianxiu explained. Why do you want to keep a secret from me? Sima Yue did not understand. Because I have nothing to do with the Alchemist Guild. Xianxiu said, I am a blind person and a cripple. I will not care about anything that I can. Not knowing why, Sima Yue heard a faint disappointment in his words. Then what are you doing here? Are you really here to smell the herbs? She did not believe him. For a person who does not know what color is, smell is an important way for us to perceive the world. Xianxiu crossed his fingers. I cannot see what the world looks like, but I can smell them. Have you always been blind? Seeing his peaceful look, Sima Yue walked over. I heard from others that I could see when I was 1 or 2 years old. So it's not that I couldn't see. It's just that I don't have any memories of that time. Xianxiu teased. A child of 1 or 2 years old did not have any memories. Even if he saw what the world looked like, how could he remember? So he did not know what color the sky was or what flowers looked like. You didn't see a doctor? I did, but no doctor could find the reason. Because I couldn't see, I got used to it. But you want to see the world, right? Sima Yue said, you want to know what the world looks like, what color the sky is, and what color it is. You don't just rely on your divine sense to distinguish the things around you. Xianxiu's smile deepened. You know how people like me think. Have you experienced it before? Chapter 992. Sima Yue shook her head. She was not blind. She had experienced life and death, and had seen the impermanence of the world. She thought more than others. Moreover, her soul was very sensitive and could easily sense other people's thoughts. Since you didn't, how did you know? Because you just said that you were smelling this place. A person who is curious about the taste of the world and is also curious about this world. Sima Yue said, am I right? Huh. He chuckled and did not deny it. You said that you're not a member of the Alchemist Guild and that you came here to find someone to treat your eyes? Sima Yue looked at the man. The aura he was emitting made her want to chat with him. Sort of. Xianxiu said. Have you found someone who can cure you? Xianxiu shook his head. I want to find their president, but he's not here. Xiachong Tian isn't here, so of course you won't be able to find him. Sima Yue thought to herself. That's why you waited for him at the Union. Wait, isn't there a wizardry barrier here? How did you get in? Sima Yue asked in surprise. I was the one who set up this barrier. Of course I can come in. Xianxiu said. A few days ago, I heard that the guild's treasure was stolen. The vice president asked me to help set up this enchantment. I specifically chose a more stable barrier, but it seems that it won't be of any use to you. Sima Yue shrugged and did not answer him. However, what surprised her the most was that this barrier was actually set up by him. The Alchemist Guild actually invited an outsider to set up a barrier. This meant that this person must be very powerful. Unfortunately, he was blind and his legs were crippled. Are you looking for the Bodhi, Ganoderma? Are you with the person from before? Xianxiu didn't ask her about her ability to pass through the enchantment and change the topic. Why don't you say that I'm the same person as before? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. When I came to set up the barrier, I smelled the remnants of his scent. It smells different from yours. Your smell is very clean. Xianxiu said. Clean? Is there such a thing as clean? Sima Yue asked curiously. She had only heard of fragrant and smelly things, but she had never heard of clean or unclean things. Of course, Xianxiu smiled, but did not say anything. Even if she said those things, it would be different. Then I'll take it as a compliment. Sima Yue said, I have something to do, so I won't talk to you. I hope we can meet again next time. Xianxiu said, Okay. Sima Yue turned around after taking 2 steps and said, Will you keep this a secret for me? Xianxiu nodded. Thank you. By the way, if you're looking for the president, he should be back in a few days. Goodbye. Sima Yue knew that he could not see her, but she still waved at him and turned to leave. After she left, a figure slowly appeared behind Xianxiu. Young master, should we investigate this person? Xianxiu thought for a while, nodded, and said lightly, It's rare to meet someone who smells so clean. It's okay to get to know him. Be careful not to let him know. Some people don't like people asking about them. Yes, that person replied and disappeared again. Xianxiu pushed the chair and accurately avoided the herbs and left the herb garden. Sima Yue returned to her original spot. Little Seven was bored watching the ants moving. Seeing her return, she threw away the branch in her hand and said, You're finally back. Why were you gone for so long? Did something happen? I'll tell you later. Sima Yue took out the antidote and scattered it in the air. Then, she pulled Little Seven to the ground and pretended to faint. When the guards smelled the antidote, they slowly woke up. When they realized that they had fainted, they were so shocked that they jumped up. Wake up, wake up! The first guard who woke up shook the people beside him, and they woke up too. What happened? I don't know. Everyone fainted. Is the prisoner still there? Yes, she's still lying there. Oh, quickly go and wake them up. Big brother, what happened to us? It's probably some master who made some poison. As long as the prisoner is still there, it's fine. Let's go. Bring them to the dungeon. Sima Yue and Little Seven were woken up. They pretended that they did not know anything and followed those people to the dungeon. Go in. Those people pushed the 2 of them into the dungeon and locked them up. Then, they left without even looking at them. The dungeon of the Alchemist Guild was considered clean. There were no cockroaches or rats, and it was not dark or damp. Other than the bad environment, it was still acceptable. Sima Yue found a relatively clean place to sit down. Little Seven went over and sat beside her, asking, What happened to you? I met someone. Sima Yue said. Met someone? Little Seven cried out in surprise. You were discovered? Sima Yue nodded and told her about Xianxiu, a blind and crippled person. Did he really see you take the Bodhi mushroom? Little Seven was doubtful. Although he didn't see it, he should have felt it. Sima Yue said, and some people can feel it even if they can't see it with their eyes. That's true, Little Seven said. Will he really keep it a secret for you? Probably. Sima Yue said, He doesn't look like a nosy person. If he really wanted to report me, he would have called for help. Moreover, even if he said it, he wouldn't know what I look like or who I am. If he finds me through my smell, I have a way to change that. But others can't find me through my smell. You've thought it through. Little Seven said, No wonder you're not worried at all. All right, now that we've said it, Let's wait here peacefully, Sima Yue said as she closed her eyes and began to meditate. Yu, how long do we have to wait here? Little Seven asked. Tomorrow, at the latest. Sima Yue said, if Director Mao and the rest don't come tomorrow, Senior Brother will get me out. Then we have to stay here for so long. Little Seven was a little bored. She couldn't enter the Spirit Pagoda here. She could only learn from Sima Yue and cultivate here. Sima Yue and the rest waited here for less than a day. There was movement outside. Then the door of the dungeon was opened. The sound of wheels could be heard from outside. Sima Yue looked at the person in front of her and asked in surprise, Xin Xiu, why are you here? Was he planning to spread the news of her getting the Bodhi mushroom? The person beside Xin Xiu gave the jailer a look. The jailer immediately opened the door. He personally led Sima Yue out and smiled. I didn't expect young Master Sima to be young Master Xin Xiu's friend. It's a pleasure to meet you. I didn't expect it to be a misunderstanding. Young Master Sima, please come out. Sima Yue looked at Xin Xiu. What is going on? Chapter 993. You are. Sima Yue and Little Seven arrived outside the prison. The middle-aged man came to welcome them personally. I'm Zhan Xing, Zhan Lu'er's grandfather. Zhan Xing smiled and said, my insensible granddaughter was blind and offended you. I apologize to you on her behalf. I hope you can forgive her for being insensible and don't hold it against her. Zhan Lu'er's grandfather? The person who could stop the Sky Heaven School from participating? Was it because he did not have the ability that Zhan Lu'er mentioned? Or was it because Xin Xiu's status was too high and he did not dare to offend him? Her intuition told her that it was the latter. If she doesn't find trouble with us, I can pretend that nothing happened, Sima Yue said. Yes. I will definitely teach that girl a lesson. Thank you for not fussing over it. Zhan Xing smiled apologetically. Sima Yue came to Xin Xiu's side. Why are you here to pick us up? I just happened to know, so I came. Xin Xiu said. Let's go. I have something to ask of you. What's the matter? Sima Yue was a little surprised, but she still nodded. Let's talk outside. Outside the dungeon, Xin Xiu said to Zhan Xing. Vice President Zhan, since the matter has been resolved, we won't delay your time. Zhan Xing was an old fox who had lived for many years. He naturally understood that Xin Xiu was chasing him away. He smiled and said, it just so happens that there are some things that I haven't settled yet. Then I won't disturb you. Goodbye. With that, he cupped his hands towards Xin Xiu and left. I know you have doubts. Let's leave this place first, and I'll tell you slowly, Xin Xiu said and left in his wheelchair. Sima Yue and Little Seven followed him out of the Alchemist Guild and came to a small courtyard. Where is this? Seven asked. My temporary lodging, Xin Xiu replied. At this moment, the door opened from the inside. A servant came out and said, Young master, you've returned. The servant came behind Xin Xiu and grabbed the wheelchair. With a little effort, the wheelchair was lifted up the stairs. Xin Xiu, why did you bring us here? Sima Yue asked. I want you to do me a favor, Xin Xiu said. Although Sima Yue was curious, she could only follow him into the house since he had no intention of telling her the details. You don't have to be nervous. I won't let you do anything outrageous. Xin Xiu said, I just heard some things, so I want you to help me. How can I help you? Sima Yue asked. You'll know when we get there. Xin Xiu brought her to the backyard. Other than the flower beds, there were 2 small trees planted in flower pots. Silver trunks, emerald green needles, and tiny flowers blooming on them. Do you see those 2 small trees? Xin Xiu asked. Sima Yue nodded. Thinking that he could not see, she replied, I see. Do you recognize what it is? It should be the extinct silver-rooted sago tree, right? Sima Yue probed. You're really knowledgeable. Xin Xiu laughed. He was not surprised that Sima Yue could recognize the 2 small trees. The silver-rooted sago tree was used as a medicine by alchemists in ancient times. Its effects were not inferior to the golden snake fruit. But for some reason, it gradually became extinct. She did not expect Xin Xiu to have 2. These flowers are so beautiful. They must be delicious. Little Seven drooled as she looked at the flowers. Although the flowers of the silver-rooted sago tree can be used as medicine, its effects are not as great as the fruit. But ever since they were discovered, they only bloomed but did not bear fruit. Xianxiu said regretfully, "Why? Is it because you planted them in such a small pot?" Xianxiu heard Little Seven's words and laughed softly. He shook his head and said, "Those two are space containers. The soil inside is definitely enough." Then why? Little Seven was even more confused. Because their pollen did not spread. Sima Yue said, "What do you mean by not spreading?" Little Seven had never blossomed before, so she didn't know what it was for. Sima Yue explained briefly, and she immediately understood. So it is so troublesome for plants to bear fruit. But aren't there bees here? Little Seven came to the side of the silver-rooted sago tree and stretched out her hand to catch a bee. Other than the one in her hand, there were a few more flying on the flowers. Normal bees are useless. Xianxiu said, "We have already found many types of bees to try." Sima Yue understood why he was looking for her. "One of the reasons why I came to Cloud Sea City this time is to get the people from the Alchemist Guild to help us take a look." Song Changjie said that the silver-rooted sago tree used to rely on the scarlet bees to spread their pollen. Later on, the number of scarlet bees decreased, and the silver-rooted sago tree gradually became extinct. As expected, when Sima Yue heard about the scarlet bees, she was almost certain of his reason for looking for her. But how did he know that she had scarlet bees? Then she thought about it. Since they met in the medicine garden, he would definitely send someone to check on her identity. It would not be difficult for him to know that she had used scarlet bees outside. At least, for someone like him, it was not difficult. Xianxiu looked at Sima Yue and said, "Are you willing to help me? As a condition to keep a secret?" Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. Xianxiu shook his head, as a friend's request. "Friend?" Sima Yue looked at him strangely. With his status, would it be so easy for him to be friends with others? "Why? Do you despise me for being a handicapped person?" Xianxiu smiled and mocked himself. "No, I don't. I just feel that your status should be very high. Why would someone like you be friends with a nobody like me?" Sima Yue said, "I said before, you smell very clean." Xianxiu said, "Just as you said, I have very few friends, but I like clean people. My hands are stained with blood. Don't you smell the blood?" Sima Yue said, "No." Xianxiu said, "So, are you willing to help me?" Sima Yue smiled and looked at the two silver-rooted sago trees. With a thought, dozens of scarlet bees flew out. Since he already knew that she had scarlet bees, there was no harm in helping him. Moreover, he had kept it a secret. Those scarlet bees flew to the silver-rooted sago trees and danced among the flowers. "Well, the results are out. Can you let me take a look?" "Okay." Although Xianxiu could not see, he scanned with his divine sense and knew that those scarlet bees were collecting honey. His smile deepened. "It's a pity that I can't see, otherwise I would really want to see what they look like." Sima Yue thought for a while and said, I'm a doctor too. Are you willing to let me take a look?" Although she did not know his identity, it was better to be on good terms with someone that even the Alchemist Guild did not dare to offend. Chapter 994. "You're a doctor?" "Yes. Anyway, President Xia isn't back yet. You can let me try." Sima Yue said, "Even if it doesn't work, the situation wouldn't be worse than it is now." "All right," Xianxiu replied. "Let's go to the living room." When they came to the drawing room, a maid immediately came in with a cup of good tea. Sima Yue was very surprised when she saw the maid, because she was actually a monarch rank expert. What was Xianxiu's identity? "Please." Xianxiu placed his hand on the table and said to Sima Yue. Sima Yue retracted her gaze from the maidservant, smiled, and began to check his body. Maid Xianxian served the tea and stood behind Xianxiu, watching Sima Yue check. As Xianxiu's personal maid, she did not care about Sima Yue at all. She had seen many doctors examining her master. Every one of them was full of confidence and felt that they would definitely be able to cure him. From then on, they would be on good terms with the Xianxiu family. However, no one could maintain their previous expression after taking their pulse. She looked at Sima Yoyue's frown and sneered in her heart. Another person who overestimated herself. Sima Yue let go of Xian Xiu and said, I still have to check your eyes and legs. All right. Xian Xiu did not have much hope in his heart, but his gentle temperament made him not reject her directly. Master, Xian cried out in a low voice. How could he allow ordinary people to casually touch his body? That was a kind of blasphemy. Sima Yue raised her head and saw Xian's hostile gaze. She was stunned and asked why. Is it inconvenient? No. Xian Xiu smiled. Xian, go down. Master, Xian looked at Xian Xiu in disbelief. He actually asked her to go down? For a person he just met? You will disturb her inspection if you stay here. Xian Xiu's voice was faint but firm. Xian looked at Xian Xiu with a wronged expression. Just let her stay. I might need her to do something later, Sima Yue said as she did not want the master and servant to fight with each other. Then you wait at the side. In. Xian nodded, not daring to say anything else. Sima Yue went in front of Xian Xiu and stretched out her hand to open his eyelids. She used her divine sense to check for a while before retreating. She took 2 steps back and said, Miss Xian, I'll have to trouble you to pull his pants up to his knees. Xian squatted down in front of Xian Xiu and pulled his pants up to his knees before retreating to the side. Sima Yue pressed on his various acupuncture points and asked him about his condition. Then, she retreated to the side, and Xian helped him pull down his pants. Xian looked at Sima Yue. She wanted to ask her about the situation, but she was afraid that Xian Xiu would be angry, so she could only look at her. Yu, how is he? Little Seven asked the question in her heart. His legs and eyes are fine, Sima Yue said. They're all good? Then why can't he walk or see? Little Seven exclaimed in surprise. That's because the nerves in his eyes and legs are being suppressed, Sima Yue said. There's something in your brain, or rather, there's something sealed in your brain. That thing caused you to become like this. Xian Xiu's expression finally changed, but it was only for a moment. He quickly regained his usual indifference. He didn't think that Sima Yue would know about his seal. Other than him and the core members of his family, no one else knew about it. Is there a solution? He asked. Remove the seal. Naturally, there will be a solution. Sima Yue said, but your seal seems to be very powerful. It won't be easy to remove it. Moreover, since it's a seal, I'm afraid removing it won't be good for your body. Just like her, the seal had loosened. In the future, she would be worried that the seal would be completely removed and she would explode and die. Xian Xiu was neither surprised nor disappointed by what she said. Is there no other way? Xian asked. Sima Yue sighed and said, with my current ability, there's no other way. You're already very powerful. Xian Xiu smiled and said, other doctors saw my condition and none of them knew about the seal in my body. You're more powerful than them. But I can't help, Sima Yue said. You want to see the world so much, but I can't help you. No, you've already helped me. Xian Xiu said, at least, I know the reason why I'm like this. Maybe one day, I'll be able to remove the seal. Even if it's just one look at the world, it'll be good. Sima Yue saw him say such sad words so calmly and felt sorry for him. He definitely knew what a seal was, but he couldn't remove it. If my medical skills improve in the future, I'll help you take a look. Maybe there's another way. Sima Yue said, but I can't guarantee that it'll work. Thank you, Xian Xiu said gratefully. Didn't you say that we're friends? Since we're friends, there's no need to be so polite. Sima Yue said, the people from the academy are looking for me and Little Seven. We'll take our leave first. I'll send you. On the way, Xian Xiu and Sima Yue chatted occasionally. Although they didn't talk much, it made each other feel comfortable. After the two of them left, the smile on Xian Xiu's face gradually disappeared. Young master. An old man walked out from the courtyard. You know everything, right? Xian Xiu's face flashed with fatigue. Before the seal, your body was normal. After the seal, you became like this. We naturally thought that it's because of the seal. The old man said, since you know the reason, why did you watch me look everywhere for a solution? Time and time again, I was disappointed. Xian Xiu said dejectedly, you want to see the world so much. We also hope that there are other ways. The old man was a little emotional. We all believe that there are other ways besides this. What other ways can there be? Would you agree to remove the seal? Xianxiu looked at the old man mockingly. Would you dare? That person just now, since she could find a reason, I believe that she can find a solution. It's just a matter of time. The old man said, Do you think the possibility is high? Let me be alone. With that, he left in his wheelchair. The old man looked at his lonely back, and his eyes were filled with heartache. Men, when Xianxiu disappeared, he called out, Great Elder. 2 men appeared in the air. Send someone to follow Sima, U.S. secretly. If necessary, protect her safety. The old man ordered. Yes. Remember, don't let her find out. Don't let young master know either. Yes. The 2 of them responded, and their figures merged into the air and disappeared directly. Chapter 995. When Sima Yue returned to the inn, Han Miao Shuang and the others ran down from upstairs. Little junior brother, where did you go? When Instructor Mao and the others went to the Union to ask for you, those people said that you had already left. Han Miao Shuang grabbed her hand and said, Are you all okay? No. Sima Yue saw that Mao San Quan and the others were also there. She said apologetically, Director Mao, I'm sorry for making you come here for nothing. It's good that you're fine. Mao San Quan said, Yue, where did you go? Wei Zheng recalled that when they went to ask for her, those people said that she and Little Seven had already left. He was very puzzled. I met a friend in the Alchemist Guild. Then he brought us out, Sima Yue said. Friends from a union? Yes, Sima Yue said. He told me not to tell anyone about him and to keep it a secret. Since that's the case, then you should go rest. Mao San Quan said, In a few days, it will be the pill competition. You should practice well. There might be some unrest outside in the next few days, so don't go out casually. Yes, Director Mao. Yue and the others knew why the students were so agitated. He was afraid that the scale of the turmoil would be relatively large, and it was best for young students like them not to get involved. However, things were often not something she could avoid just because she wanted to. When Sima Yue came to the room, Wu Lingyu was not there. After looking around, she went straight to do her own thing. At this time, Wu Lingyu had just returned from outside. When he arrived at the main hall, he paused for a moment and then went to the backyard. Master, the plump shopkeeper came out of the house and bowed to Wu Lingyu. Wu Lingyu went straight to the house, casually set up a barrier, and then returned to his original appearance. Have you found anything? He had a smile on his face, but there was no warmth in his eyes. I found it. It's someone from the Xianxiu clan. The fat shopkeeper said. The people from the Xianxiu clan are here? Wu Lingyu was surprised. Who is it? Xianxiu he. The crippled young master of the Xianxiu clan. Wu Lingyu's gaze darkened. What is he doing here? They should be looking for Xia Changtian and Zhao Xiangqi to heal their bodies. The fat shopkeeper said, We also received news that they brought 2 silver-rooted sago trees with them. They actually obtained that treasure. I don't know if Yi would like it, but if she does, I'll get it for her. 3 black lines appeared on the back of the fat shopkeeper's head, saying, I think young master you already knows. How did she know? Today, Xianxiu he brought him to the place where he stayed. The fat shopkeeper said, I think he didn't look for young master you at a chat. You went to Xianxiu he's place? Wu Lingyu frowned. Where is she now? We've already returned to the inn. The fat shopkeeper said, Before he could finish his sentence, Wu Lingyu had already disappeared from his sight. He shook his head and sighed. Master is already gay, sigh. Sima Yue was reading when she suddenly felt a flash in front of her. She raised her head and saw Wu Lingyu standing in front of her. Why did you suddenly appear? You scared me. She glared at him and said. Wu Lingyu came to her side and sat down. He reached out and hugged her waist, saying, You went to see Xianxiu he? Who is Xianxiu he? Sima Yue asked. Didn't you go to Xianxiu he's courtyard? Wu Lingyu leaned on her shoulder and said gloomily, You mean Xianxiu? Sima Yue knew who he was talking about. So, Xianxiu is his surname. Why did that blind man bail you out? You could have let me pick you up. Wu Lingyu said unhappily. You know Xianxiu? Sima Yue asked. Don't call him so intimately. He's called Xianxiu He. Wu Lingyu corrected. All right, Xianxiu He, you know him? Sima Yue followed his words. We've never spoken before. It meant that they knew each other's identities. You haven't answered me yet. Why are you with him? Sima Yue told him about meeting Xianxiu He in the herb garden. She also told him everything that happened after that to prevent someone from being jealous. Did he really just ask you for your scarlet bees? Of course. Sima Yue reached out and pinched his cheek. What else do you want? He doesn't even know that I'm a girl. Oomph. Even though that guy is disabled, he has harmed many girls. I'm just reminding you not to be fooled by him. Wu Lingyu said. Am I that shallow? Sima Yue increased the strength of her hand. She was also unhappy. If you were a shallow person, I wouldn't need to remind you. I'm many times more outstanding than him. Narcissist, this is called confidence. But with you, this confidence is useless. I think you're just thick-skinned. Sima Yue pinched his face with both hands. Then what's Xianxiu He's identity? Xianxiu clan's young master. Xianxiu clan. Is it a clan from the middle or inner regions? Sima Yue heard of this surname for the first time. She thought that Xianxiu He's surname was Xian and his name was Qiu. Neither. Wu Lingyu said. Then what is it? They're a hidden clan. Hidden clan? Sima Yue frowned. She didn't expect Xianxiu clan to be so powerful. Yeah, they usually don't come out. These few years, because of Xianxiu He, they've come out more often. Wu Lingyu said, their powers are usually high and mighty. Just looking at them makes people dislike them. So you should stay away from them. Sima Yue stared at Wu Lingyu and said, Why do I smell something sour? No way. Wu Lingyu refused to admit it. That immortal-like man made him very unhappy. Xianxiu, he is a good person. You'll know after you get to know him. Sima Yue said, You won't interfere with me making friends, right? Wu Lingyu looked at Sima Yue looking at him seriously. The words in his throat spun a few times. Finally, he compromised. Why would I care about you? I've never cared about you. A certain someone wailed in his heart. It's not like that. It's not like that. But he knew that she didn't like it. So he could only feel uncomfortable in his heart. All right, then it's fine. You go to your own things. I want to continue reading. I just happen to run into some problems. Sima Yue said with a smile. That's good. I'll go out for a while. I'll be back in a while. Wu Lingyu patted her head and opened the door to leave. Sima Yue waved at him, protesting that he was patting her like a puppy. But that guy had already left. Wu Lingyu left the room. His figure flashed, and he appeared in the air. He locked onto a certain spot and said, Come out. The person hiding in the space didn't want to come out. But after being locked onto by him, he couldn't escape even if he wanted to. He had no choice but to show himself. Wu Lingyu looked at the two people. His eyes darkened and said, People from Xianxiu clan? Chapter 996. Read 336. The two of them looked at Wu Lingyu without saying anything. They were trying to guess his identity. He was actually able to discover them in such a situation and even lock onto their position. Why are you following her? Wu Lingyu asked. If you don't tell me, then... His gaze was cold, and the other party could clearly feel the dense, killing intent. We're here to protect her, one of them said, indicating that they were not hostile. They saw how he interacted with her just now, and it seemed like their relationship was not ordinary. If they did anything to him, Sima Yue would definitely find them. Who asked you to protect her? Xianxiu He? No, young master doesn't know that we're here. We are here on the orders of the Great Elder. Hearing that it was not someone sent by Xianxiu He, Wu Lingyu heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. It seemed like that guy hadn't realized that Yue was a girl. Go back and tell Xianxiu Lai that he doesn't need you to protect him in secret. Wu Lingyu said, If you really want to, then protect him openly. If I see you again, don't blame me for taking action. The two of them glanced at each other, then directly disappeared into the air, returning to report to Xianxiu Yang. After Wu Lingyu finished dealing with the situation here, he returned to the inn. In a small courtyard where the Xianxiu clan was staying, Xian Xiaolai was listening to the report of the two guards. To be able to lock onto your position so accurately, that person must be very powerful. Xian Xiaolai pondered. He doesn't want you to follow him? He said that if you want to protect her, you have to do it openly. You're not allowed to follow her in secret. A guard said, you want to borrow the power of my Xian Xiao clan? In your dreams. Xian Xiaolai said angrily, he's just a small alchemist. Does he really think that he's that important? Then what should we do? Since they don't allow us to follow them, then let's call them back. Xian Xiaolai said, since she has experts following her, then we don't have to worry. By the way, has the person who went to investigate her returned? Not yet. So far, the only information we have is that she's behind the city. Send the information to young master as soon as you find it. Also, get someone to make a copy for me. Yes, Grand Elder. In the following days, Sima Yue would go to the Spirit Pagoda to refine pills whenever she was free. She managed to refine quite a number of grade 7 pills. More than 10 days were equivalent to more than a year's time. She had spent more than half of her time here. This was the longest time she had spent researching pills in the past few years. After refining all the 7th grade pills in her hands, she felt that she had faintly touched the threshold of an 8th grade alchemist. In this 1 year, Han Miaoshuang and Su Xiaoxiao were also inside, practicing on their own and discussing from time to time. Wu Lingyu had also been accompanying Sima Yue. With the other half of Mo Sha's soul, he could give her more professional guidance. This was also the reason why she was able to reach the threshold of the 8th rank so quickly. On this day, Sima Yue and Wu Lingyu were refining pills in the alchemy room. One was refining pills while the other was observing. Puchi, the sound coming from the pill furnace and the smell of burning in the air indicated that the pill refining had failed. Another failure. This was already the 3rd time she had failed today. Is it that hard to refine an 8th grade pill? She sighed. Or is there something I didn't notice? Your skills are already very good. You can definitely try to break through to the 8th rank. Wu Lingyu said, you keep failing now. It should be related to the pressure on your mind. You've already been practicing here for half a year. Refining pills for a long time has made your mind tense. Why don't you go out and relax? Sima Yue thought about it and agreed. Practicing all the time might not be good. How long until the pill competition? 3 more days. So fast. Yes, there are many people here now. It's more lively than before. Wu Lingyu said, you can go out and take a look. Where are you going? Sima Yue looked at him and asked. The people from the Sage Pavilion are here. Wu Lingyu said, that old man is coming this time too. I'm afraid that the substitute won't be able to hide from him. His original plan was to let the substitute take his place to watch, but he didn't expect that old man to come too. Although the substitute looked like him, a fake was still a fake. It could fool others, but if he wanted to fool that old man, he was still lacking. He's coming too? He won't do anything to you, right? Sima Yue was a little worried. The guy was eyeing his body covetously. Of course he can't do anything now. Don't worry. Wu Lingyu came to her side and hugged her. He kissed her on the lips. Then I won't be able to see you for a few days. Sima Yue hugged his neck with both hands. When will you settle the matter with the Sage Pavilion? Well, I don't need this identity anymore. Wu Lingyu said, I still need this identity to roam the continent. The disciple of the Divine Devil Valley's Valley Lord can also be your identity. Sima Yue pouted. There are some things that if done with that identity, it will bring trouble to the Divine Devil Valley. Wu Lingyu explained, that old man isn't here. I can't bring a lot of trouble back for him. Speaking of Master, is there still no news of him? Sima Yue thought of Old Man Devil. He left after knowing about Feng Ruyen. She hadn't seen him for so many years. He said that he was her master, but he was comfortable being a hands-off shopkeeper. It wasn't just him. Su Jin, Feng Zhixing, and every other master felt that her self-learning ability was excellent. They left after leaving some books, and no one taught her properly. If not for the Spirit Pagoda, she didn't know what she would be like now. Although I don't know where he is, his life Jade is with me. It's fine, which means that he's fine. You don't have to worry too much about him. He hasn't been reliable for so many years. Wu Lingyu said. That's good. Sima Yue said, this master's life, Jade, is with you. The other master's life, Jade, is. Sai, I don't know how Master Su, Teacher Gu, and Principal Yuan are doing. You're so busy. Why are you worrying so much? Wu Lingyu said, if something happened to them, there would be people from the academy to settle it. But Master's life, Jade, isn't with me. Sima Yue said, when eldest senior brother left, he took Master's life, Jade, with him. The Jiang family will be participating too. I think Kong Junshul will be there too. Who knows, your eldest senior brother might be there too. Really? I'm not sure. Wu Lingyu said, let's go out and walk around. You meet a lot of people. Who knows, there might be something fun. Let's relax and compete properly. All right. Sima Yue wasn't interested in going out for a walk, but she really needed to relax. So she brought little Seven out for a walk. Chapter 997. Title: Chapter Goodbye. Eldest senior brother Author Ocean of Cloud City was much more bustling when the competition approached. Many people were strolling about on the streets. Some were buying things while others were watching the show. Sima Yue and Little Seven walked around casually. They didn't have a specific destination and would go wherever there was a crowd. Yu, there are a lot of fake herbs here. Little Seven came out from a stall and told Sima Yue. How do you know it's fake? I knew at the moment I smelled it. Anyway, we are not going to buy it. Let's go somewhere else. Sima Yue held her hand and said, shouldn't we remind them? No need. They can tell by themselves. Seven nodded. Thinking about it, it made sense. The people who bought the herbs were all alchemists. If they couldn't even distinguish this, then it could only mean that these people were stupid to the point of their grandmother's home. They walked around the street and found nothing interesting, so they decided to go to a tea house to listen to the latest news. They arrived at the largest tea house in the city, and their luck was rather good. They just happened to encounter the last remaining private room. This is the best private room we have here. It was originally empty, but the last batch of guests seemed to have something urgent and left after a while. Hey, they just left when you came in. The waiter who led the way was very enthusiastic and talked to them as he walked. Sima Yue looked around the tea house as she listened to the waiter. The whole tea house was decorated very elegantly. There was a rockery and a pond in the hall. There were landscape paintings on the walls. The doors of each private room were also inscribed with China-style ink paintings or brush strokes. This is the private room. The waiter brought them to a private room on the 3rd floor. He opened the door and went in. This is facing the street. It's the most comfortable place to drink tea. Not bad indeed. Little Seven was quite fond of the interior design. She went to the window and opened it to look outside. You can see the Alchemist Guild from here. Yes, if you look out from here, you'll be able to see the Alchemist Guild. The waiter said, you guys wait here, I'll bring you some tea. With that, he left. Sima Yue walked to the window and looked at the Alchemist Guild from afar. Yu, your eldest senior brother. Little Seven suddenly shouted. Senior brother wouldn't come here. It should be the young master of the Jiang family. Sima Yue knew that the Jiang family would come, so she didn't care. No, it's really your eldest senior brother. Little Seven pointed at the person below. Sima Yue looked in the direction that Little Seven was pointing at. With just a glance, she was certain that the person below was Jiang Junxian. Jiang Junxian raised his head and saw Sima Yue. His eyes flashed, and he disappeared around the corner. Sima Yue flew down and turned the corner. Jiang Junxian had already disappeared. She ran to the street where he disappeared. This was a crossroad. When she got there, Jiang Junxian had already disappeared. Eldest senior brother. She looked around but didn't see anyone. She just wanted to ask how her master was doing. When she returned to the private room, Xiaoqi knew what had happened. Yu, don't be sad. Since he's here, you'll see him sooner or later. Little Seven comforted. Okay. Sima Yue sat down at the tea table. The waiter had already served the tea. Yu, why is your eldest senior brother here? Little Seven sat opposite her and asked. It should be for Kong Junshul. Sima Yue said, senior brother said that the Jiang family would come. Kong Junshul will definitely come. Then will he take revenge here? Little Seven asked. I don't know. Sima Yue said, right now, I just want to ask him about Master's life, Jade. I don't want to ask about anything else. Then the Jiang family does owe him. It's reasonable that he wants to take revenge. But I have a feeling that he's not here just for revenge. Sima Yue said, the inner regions were involved in the Cloud Sea City incident. Could it be that eldest senior brother is here because of this? Or is he purely here for revenge? There's no point in thinking so much. Little Seven said, but when will Xia Chong, Tian, and the rest get rid of the traitor? Although President Xia is still in the Little Realm, his guards have already gone out to contact their people. According to their plan, they should clean up the sect before the pill competition. Sima Yue drank her tea and said lightly, there's still 2 more days. Little Seven said, but they haven't done anything. You've been staying in the Spirit Pagoda with me all day. You don't know what's going on outside. You won't know if there's any movement. Sima Yue said, we don't know, but that doesn't mean they haven't done anything. That's true. When the time comes, there'll definitely be a good show to watch. Little Seven was eager and excited. In recent years, the central and outer regions have been unstable. Most of it is because of the interference from the inner regions. They're trying to extend their evil claws to the outer regions. What exactly happened in the inner regions that caused them to break the current balance? Sima Yue knocked on the table with one hand and propped up her chin with the other as she asked suspiciously, there must be something that we don't know. Little Seven said, when there's a chance in the future, we'll go there and take a look. But we can't do it now. You're not strong enough. You'll be at a disadvantage if you go. Sima Yue was speechless. She was being looked down on again. Speaking of which, she had been too busy recently. She hadn't had a breakthrough in her cultivation for a long time. She rubbed her forehead. Now she finally understood why those professional masters had lower cultivation than others. It was simply a waste of time. When my strength increases, I'll definitely go, she said confidently. There were many reasons why she had to go there. They rested in the tea house for a while before preparing to leave. Just as they stepped out of the private room, they heard a commotion below. There's someone arguing below. Little Seven said, there's someone we know. We'll know what's going on when we go down and take a look. Sima Yue said. They went downstairs and saw Jean Lu arguing with 2 people. After hearing a few words, they knew that it was that Missy's superior mentality causing trouble again. She insisted on snatching the empty private room from them. Little Seven walked down and saw Jean Lu standing in the main hall. The group of guards behind her was especially eye-catching. Jean Lu, you like to wander around and find trouble with others when you have nothing to do. Do you want to show off your superiority? Little Seven mocked. Who's there? Jean Lu raised her head and saw Little Seven and Sima Yue coming down the stairs. Her originally arrogant face instantly darkened. It's these 2 people again. She didn't think that these 2 people would be related to that big shot. Not only did she not teach them a lesson the last time, she was even taught a lesson by her grandfather. Now that she saw them, she was filled with anger. Gentlemen's Alliance. Chapter 998. Jean Lu wanted to teach them a lesson, but thinking of her grandfather's warning, she suppressed the anger in her heart. Grandpa said that these people were just clowns, and it didn't matter how he dealt with them. But since they were related to that person, he couldn't touch them. Thinking of those heaven-shaking faces, her heart rippled, and she found them a little more pleasing to the eye. Since they were that person's friends, she didn't want to argue with them about the previous conflict. Sima Yue looked at her changing expression and did not know what she was thinking. Otherwise, she would vomit blood in her heart. Why are you guys here? Jean Lu forced a smile at them, but the other party did not buy it. Little Seven looked at her and couldn't help but shiver. She rubbed her arms and said, what are you trying to do? Don't look at me like that. Jean Lu endured and endured. In her heart, she told herself not to be angry. Thinking of Xin Chiohe's face, she finally endured it. Ugly woman, are you bullying others here again? Little Seven asked. You? We're just here to drink tea. Who asked them to be so blind to actually want to snatch the private room from us? Jean Lu said. We were clearly here first. A woman wearing a light yellow dress said. But I booked it first. Jean Lu said. You clearly sent someone to tell the waiter that you've already canceled it. The other party said, since it's already canceled, then it doesn't count. I don't want to cancel it now. Jean-Luc gave him a bite-me look. Do you think your grandpa will still help you if he finds out? Sima Yue walked down the stairs and asked. She observed these people from the stairs and could see that they were very powerful. However, they had been suppressing it and did not intend to reveal their identities. Originally, she would not care about such things. However, the person who provoked them was Jean-Luc, so it was fine for her to say something. Jean-Luc looked at Sima Yue, then at the rest of the people. She was really unsure of the answer to her question. Seeing little Seven wave her fist, she gritted her teeth and waved to the people behind her, saying, "Let's go." The guards of the Alchemist Guild stood there in astonishment. She actually left just like that? Some of the guards had been with her the last time, so they knew how powerful little Seven was. They also knew why Jean-Luc would compromise. Go! Jean-Luc glared at them fiercely. She could not do anything to these people, but could she not command her own people? In the end, those people left with their tails between their legs. Those people didn't expect that the group of people who were so arrogant just now would actually leave because of these two people. Thank you for your help. One of the men cupped his hands and thanked Sima Yue. I'm just passing by. Although hiding one's identity is sometimes necessary, but for someone like Jean-Luc, the most direct way is to use one's identity to suppress her, Sima Yue said to that person. You know about us? I don't know. Sima Yue glanced at them and said to Little Seven, let's go back. After saying that, she and Little Seven left the tea house, leaving the two of them with their backs. She left just like that? The lady in yellow said in disbelief. They all know that our identities are not ordinary, but they didn't take the opportunity to strike up a conversation. This means that they don't care about our identities at all. The Goof family should be here soon. Let's go up and wait for them. Manager, if someone comes looking for the Sima family later, tell them where our private room is. The lady in yellow instructed the manager. All right, everyone follow me. The manager said, and personally led them to the private room upstairs. Sima Yue didn't expect that these people would be from the Sima family, so she left without looking back and continued to shop with Little Seven. Little Seven also didn't have the chance to shop properly in Cloud Sea City, so Sima Yue accompanied her for the entire day. In the evening, they arrived at Spirit Stone Shop. This is the biggest Spirit Stone shop they were talking about, the Stone Pavilion, right? Sima Yue looked at the two-word Stone Pavilion on the door of the shop. It was the same as the branch shop she saw the last time. She looked at the sea of people inside and said, there are indeed many people. Let's go. It's more fun with more people. Little Seven said. She heard from Fatty and the others that Sima Yue cheated people in the Spirit Stone shop the last time, so she always felt that the Spirit Stone shop was a fun place. Since she was here, she definitely had to take a good look. Sima Yue went in with her. It was very lively inside. Many people were chatting, and the most lively place was at the stone opening area. If a spirit stone was opened, it would definitely attract everyone's attention. Little Seven ran oversee those people choosing L stone, then followed them to the stone opening area. Sima Yue saw her excited look and helplessly followed behind her, while looking at a few stone openings. She had to admit that the stone opening rate here was quite high. She looked at it for half an hour, and the probability of a spirit stone opening was almost 1 in 3, which was considered quite high in the stone gambling industry. Young lady, I saw that you've been walking around here for a while. Do you want to buy one yourself to try? A shop assistant saw Little Seven squatting down and learning from the person beside her, so he persuaded her. Me? Little Seven pointed at herself. Yes, I saw that you were walking around here. You should be very interested in this, right? Since that's the case, why not buy one and try it? The shop assistant continued. The probability of spirit stone opening is quite high. If it's a spirit stone, then you'll make a fortune. What if I don't get one? Open a few more. You'll definitely get a spirit stone. The shop assistant smiled and said, anyway, you won't lose out in stone gambling here. Little Seven was a little tempted, but she didn't have any money on her, so she could only look at Sima Yue. Sima Yue couldn't resist her gaze at all. If you want to play, then choose. Thank you, Yu. Little Seven hugged Sima Yue excitedly, then went to choose L stone. Sima Yue looked at the stone she chose and couldn't help but shake her head. But she saw that Little Seven was so excited, and the stones she chose weren't expensive, so she didn't say anything and let her play by herself. The shop assistant saw that Little Seven was so forthright and was overjoyed, so he guided Little Seven to choose 10 stones. Young lady, do you want to open the stone here? The shop assistant smiled and asked. Of course I want to open it. Little Seven said, since I'm already here, of course I want to open it. All right, then follow me. The surrounding people had already noticed Little Seven and saw that she chose 10 L stones in less than half an hour, so they all wanted to see the results. Chapter 999. Little Seven asked the waiter to carry the L stone to the area with the least number of people. There were only 3 to 5 people waiting there. Little girl, let's wait here. Little Seven looked at the other places. There were a few people waiting there. She nodded. This little girl bought so much. The person in front of her saw the pile of 10 L stones beside Little Seven and said with some surprise. Usually, everyone would choose 2 or 3 at a time. Choosing 5 or 6 would be considered a lot. He didn't expect her to choose 10. Yeah, it's my first time playing this, so I bought a few more. Little Seven was in a good mood and actually started chatting with others. Little girl, your courage is commendable. Since this is your first time playing this game, I'll let you start first. A big man laughed. I'll let you go first too. Since they've given in, I'll give in to you too. Now, the people in front of her all said that she should go first. She went from the last to the first. The person who was cutting the stone turned back to look at them, then turned back to continue watching the master cutting the stone. Little Seven went over curiously, wanting to see what kind of spirit stones it could cut out. The stone cutter used a tool knife to peel off the outermost layer of the stone. The stone that was as big as a child's head was peeled off until it was as big as a fist, but there was still no movement. The buyer became more and more nervous, and his forehead was covered in sweat. It's already so small, yet there's still no movement. I'm afraid it's a white stone. Someone whispered. The master was very calm. He peeled the stone layer by layer until the stone became the size of a walnut. Then he asked, do you still want to cut it? TSK. The master put away the knife, took out a piece of sandpaper, and carefully polished it. When the stone became the size of a peanut, the man stood up in disappointment. He stood to the side, wanting to see Little Seven's results. It's my turn. Little Seven hugged a stone and placed it on the stone table. She looked expectantly at the master who was opening the stone. The master took Little Seven's stone and looked at it. How do you cut it? How do we cut it? Little Seven scratched her head and said, I don't know about this either. Just cut it however you want. The master looked up at Little Seven and lowered his head, preparing to cut. Just cut it off, Sima Yue said. Little Seven looked at Sima Yue and said, all right, let's cut it off. The master took out a tool knife and followed Sima Yue's instructions and cut it down the middle. The knife cut through the stone, revealing the white Hua stone. White stone, Master said lightly. Continue, Little Seven said. The master took half of it and cut in half again. It was still white stone. The master cut in half again twice, but it was still the same. Cut this one, cut it like this. Seven carried the other one and placed it on the stone table. She casually gestured. The master took the L stone and cut it according to Little Seven's instructions. It was still white stone. Again, Seven said unwillingly. One by one, the L stones were cut open. They were all white stones. The surrounding people sighed. His luck was truly unparalleled. The 10 L stones were all cut open. Other than the last one that had a little bit of green, the rest were all white stones. Yu. Little Seven pouted and looked at Sima Yue. You chose it yourself. Sima Yue shrugged. Little Seven walked over and pulled her hand. Yu, go and choose. Let's take a look. Sima Yue was not in a rush. She brought her to other places. The fact that Little Seven bought 10 white stones had already attracted the attention of the other shop assistants. Every time she went somewhere, They would introduce it to her eagerly, wanting her to buy more. Little Seven looked at the L stones and was moved. Especially when she saw the spirit stones that others had cut out, she was even more excited. She jumped around even more than others. Sima Yue looked at her and shook her head helplessly. She gave her some money and told her to go and play by herself. Little Seven took the crystal card and jumped around. After a while, she came back with 10 L stones. Sima Yue looked at the stones she chose and was speechless. Including the previous 10, there were a total of 10. She actually didn't choose a good one. Haha, I'll go and cut the stones. Little Seven asked the shop assistant to move the L stones to the place where the stones were cut open. Sima Yue didn't want to look, so she went to the ore area and observed the ores. It's you. A clear voice came from behind. Sima Yue felt that it was familiar. She turned around and saw the people she met at the tea house. It's you guys. She nodded at them. Are you here to choose spirit stones too? Where's your little sister? Sima Yue pointed at the area where the stones were cut open. Little Seven was there anxiously watching the master cut open the stones. You let her go and cut open the stones alone? All right, I'm Sima Chi Chi. This is Sima Xian Shu, Sima Yi Fei, and Sima Yi Yun. The lady in a yellow dress introduced to Sima Yue. When Sima Yue heard their names, her eyes flashed with surprise. But in that instant, she suppressed it. She knew that their status wasn't low, but she didn't expect them to be from the Sima family. I'm CU, that's Little Seven. Sima Yue said. How's your selection going? Sima Yun looked like an indifferent lady. When she smiled, it made people feel comfortable. She's playing over there. I haven't chosen yet. Sima Yue said. Are you here to choose spirit stones too? We're just looking around. Sima Chi Chi said, it's our first time in Cloud Sea City, so we're just walking around. Since Little Seven is cutting open stones over there, let's go and take a look. Little Seven was extremely depressed. She had already cut open 6 L stones, but she didn't get a single spirit stone. She looked at Sima Yue and saw her looking over. Yue, it's not out again. Sima Yue walked over and said, isn't it not over yet? Let's wait until it's all out. Little Seven took another L stone and placed it on the stone table. This time, there was no surprise, it was still a white stone. Don't be discouraged. Sima Yue comforted. What kind of luck do I have? So many stones, but I didn't even get a single spirit stone. Little Seven said dejectedly. Don't worry, you won't go back empty-handed. Sima Yue patted her head. When Little Seven heard what she said, her eyes shone and said excitedly, Yu, are you saying that I have spirit stones here? What do you think? Haha, I'm motivated again. Little Seven ran back excitedly and stared at the master who was cutting open the stones for her. Sima Yi Fei and the other 3 walked over. When they saw the white stones beside Little Seven, they said in surprise, she bought all these? Sima Yue nodded. So many? How many spirit stones did she get? Sima Chi Chi asked. Sima Yue looked at the white stones on the ground. Her eyes said it all. Chapter 1000. Book title, Zhang Xiaoqi's Luck, 2. Author after that, he opened another one. This time, his luck was better and he opened a spirit stone. However, its quality was ordinary and its value was not high. You look, is this valuable? Little Seven showed the spirit stone to Sima Yue. It's all right. Let's see what happens later. Little Seven went back and asked the master to continue opening the stone. The other 2 Sima Yue stood at the side and watched quietly. It was only until the last one that she walked to the front and said to the master, cut it here and polish it on both sides. According to Sima Yue's request, the master cut the rock into 2 parts, one big and one small. Then, he picked up the small part and started to polish it. Little Seven looked at the master nervously. Yue didn't ask for anything in the past. Now that she had made a request, there must be a chance. Are you a seeker spirit master? Sima Yun asked. Does a dabbler count? Sima Yue asked. A half-baked seeker spirit master is already very powerful. Sima Chi Chi said, you have to know that seeker spirit masters like Third Master Amo are very rare. Even people from the inner regions knew about Third MO. It seemed like he was quite famous. Soon, the stone-cutting master opened the first spirit stone. The dark green color immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding people. Heavens, it's a dark green spirit stone. You can actually find dark green spirit stones here. This one is worth the price of these 10. It's not just these 10. Even if you add up the previous 10, it still can't compare to this price. That's right. What a turn of events. Hearing their words, little Seven smiled happily. She knew it. How could she be so unlucky? She couldn't even get a single spirit stone out of the 20 stones. This was what it meant when one didn't call out, but once it was called out, it was astonishing. There was also a smile in the master's eyes. To them, opening a spirit stone was a happy thing. Little girl, keep this well. He handed the spirit stone to little Seven and said to the person behind him, next. Wait a minute. Sima Yue stopped him. Master, please open the other half. There are no spirit stones in this small stone, but if you want, I can open it for you. This stone-cutting master had a gentle temperament, unlike other stone-cutting masters who would get angry because the customer's request was contrary to their own ideas. He picked up the other half of the stone and carefully polished it. Soon, the stone was reduced to the size of an egg. Yu, there's only so much left. Will there be spirit stones inside? Little Seven asked. Just wait and see. Sima Yue smiled. Sima Yifei and the others watched quietly from the side. They were considered to be experienced and knowledgeable. It wasn't like an or that yielded 2 spirit stones had never happened before. They were more interested in the confident smile on her face. That smile was faint, but it made people believe her from the bottom of their hearts. It made people feel that there really were spirit stones inside the stone. Layer after layer of stone skin was slowly removed. Just as everyone was about to lose their confidence, the stone skin was no longer white. There is color. It doesn't look green. It's a little red. We'll know when the last layer of stone is removed. When the stone-cutting master saw the faint red color, he was first surprised, then he became excited. No matter how big the spirit stone was, as long as it was of other colors, the value would be multiplied several times. His hand movements became gentler, as if he was protecting his own child. Very quickly, this spirit stone appeared in everyone's sight. It was an intoxicating red color, the size of a walnut, and shaped like a little heart. It made people like it immediately. So beautiful. Little Seven's cheers woke up the surrounding spectators. Little girl, I'll give you 50,000 crystals for this spirit stone. Sell it to me. Little girl, I'll give you 60,000, 70,000. The price quickly went over 100,000, but little Seven had no intention to sell it. She took the spirit stone and played with it in her hands. Little girl, if you're willing, our stone pavilion is willing to buy it. No. Little Seven shook her head and said, such a beautiful spirit stone. I want to keep it for myself. The people who were bidding at the side were disappointed. Some wanted to persuade her again. Little girl, you can consider the price I'm offering. This price is already much higher than its value. Not selling, not selling. Little Seven waved her hand impatiently and took the spirit stone to Sima Yue and said, You, look, it's so beautiful. It's indeed beautiful. Sima Yue saw that she liked it so much and smiled. You can wait for Fatty and the rest to come out and ask him to make a necklace for you to wear around your neck. But Fatty and the rest still have many years before they come back from the little realm. Little Seven couldn't wait to get the necklace. Then after the things here are over, we'll go back to the sect to find an armament master to make one. Then when can we go back? I don't know how long the competition will take. This thing is already with you. Just wait for a few more days. Sima Yue said uncertainly. Miss Little Seven, if you can't wait, I can try. Sima Yifei said. You know how to refine armaments? Little Seven asked. If the grade you want isn't too high, I can try. Sima Yifei said. It's not high, it's not high. I don't need those defensive functions. I just wanted to look good and match with this spirit stone. Little Seven said excitedly. Then I'll tell you when I'm done. When will you be done? Tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, you can go to the place where we're staying to get it. Okay, I'll definitely go tomorrow afternoon. After some back and forth, the matter was settled. Sima Yue couldn't stop it in time. Feng Zhixing didn't tell her too many things, so she wasn't sure if she had any contact with the Sima family. She also didn't know if too much contact would bring her trouble. She wanted to keep a distance from them, but seeing little Seven's excited look, she swallowed the words of rejection. Do you want to continue playing? Not playing. Little Seven shook her head. With the spirit stone in her hand, she wasn't interested in anything else. Then let's go back. See you. We want to choose a few ores. Can you help us to check? Sima Yiyun said. I've only learned a little bit. It's not enough to help others choose ores. It's good if they can open spirit stones. If they can't, then it's not good. Sima Yue declined. That's better than us who don't know anything. Sima Yiyun laughed. If you let us choose, then we'll be blindly choosing. If we can't open spirit stones, then we'll be responsible for it. Little Seven didn't know the identity of these people. She pulled Sima Yoyue's hand and said, Yu, help them. They want to help me refine a necklace. Chapter 1001. Sima Yue looked at Little Seven, who raised her head and blinked her big eyes. She said helplessly, You guys better not listen to my opinion. This meant that he agreed. Sima Yifei and Sima Xanshu exchanged glances and said, Since that's the case, then let's go inside to choose the ores. They came from large clans, so they didn't care about the ores outside. Just like the stone pavilions in other places, this place was also divided into several areas. Each area had a different level, and the level of the spirit stones it contained was also different. Of course, the price of ores was different. Sima Yue followed them to the second area. Sima Chi and Sima Yiyun were already choosing stones in front of the ore area. Sima Xianshu, Sima Yiyun, and Sima Yue came to the area and said, See you. Help us choose a few. You letting me choose? Sima Yue asked. Help us take a look first, then we'll buy according to our situation. Sima Xianshu said. Sima Yue did not know what they were thinking, so she randomly chose 10 of them. Sima Xianshu paid the money without hesitation and kept the spirit stones without a second thought. After coming out from the stone pavilion, Sima Yifei gave the address to Sima Yue and the rest and said, Come tomorrow. You should have finished refining. Then he gave them the address. All right, we will definitely pay them a visit then. Sima Yue said and left with Little Seven. After they left, Sima Chi then asked Sima Yifei, Why did you ask him to help us choose ores? We didn't plan to buy this, did we? Why do you suddenly want to buy this? Of course we have our uses. Sima Xianshu said. You will know later. Chi, they probably want to test how many spirit stones you can pick out every day and then decide if this person has the qualifications to be your friend. Sima Yiyun explained. Let's go. I'll go back and refine a necklace for her. After you guys go back, find someone to open those 10 ores and see how many you can get. Sima Yifei said. All right, leave the matter of the ores to us. Sima Yiyun said. They returned to the small courtyard where they were staying. Sima Yiyun went to refine a necklace for Little Seven, while Sima Yiyun and the other two went to look for a master who knew how to open stones. On the morning of the second day, Sima Yifei came out from his room and went to look for Sima Yiyun and the rest. What was the result yesterday? He asked when he saw them. Sima Chi was telling Sima Yiyun about yesterday's results, and they were still very surprised. Seeing how anxious he was, she said, Make a guess first. 3, 4? Sima Yifei guessed. The two beauties shook their heads. 5? The two beauties shook their heads. There can't be 6 of them, right? Sima Yifei said in astonishment. The two beauties still shook their heads. Don't tell me there are only 1 or 2. Sima Yifei didn't continue guessing. Not really. Sima Yiyun saw that her brother had guessed so many times and still hadn't guessed correctly, so she said with a smile, It's 7. Moreover, there were 5 spirit stones of different colors. The other 2 aren't low grade either. 7. 70% chance of producing stones? Really? Sima Yifei didn't believe it. Absolutely true. Guaranteed to be replaced with a fake. It's actually 70%. Sima Yifei was stunned and was shocked by this result. Looks like this so-called dabbler is not only at the level of a dabbler. Also, I found out something. Sima Yiyun said. What? I was just telling Chi-Chi that when he chose the stones yesterday, I observed carefully and found out that when he chose the ores, there were a few that he chose seriously, a few that he casually looked at, and a few that he casually took. Sima Yiyun said. Younger sister, you've always been more meticulous. Then did you remember the spirit stones that he chose? Sima Yiyun asked. I did. Sima Yiyun nodded. That's what surprised me. Why? I memorized the expression of every single one that he chose. When I came back, I specially distinguished it according to the time he chose and his expression at that time. Guess what I found out? Sima Yiyun kept him in suspense. You could tell me directly. Sima Yifei had already guessed it in his heart, but he felt that his thoughts were a little scary, so he asked directly. Sima Yiyun understood her brother and knew that he wanted to know the answer, but didn't want to guess. I found out that the 5 that he chose carefully were all different colored spirit stones that had good spirit stones. Out of the 5 that he casually chose, 2 of them were normal spirit stones and 3 of them were white stones. Sima Yiyun said, I think this isn't a coincidence. You're saying that those that he chose carefully, the rate of opening the stones was 100%. Sima Yifei was speechless. That's right. Sima Chi-Chi said, although these ores are easy to identify, but to do it 100%, it's not an ordinary seeker spirit master. It can be done. This CU is indeed not an ordinary person. Sima Yifei said. Yifei, why did you think of testing him? Sima Chi-Chi asked curiously. If it wasn't for Sima Yifei who thought of this method to buy ores, they wouldn't have found out that Sima Yue was such a powerful seeker spirit master. I actually didn't want to test him. I was just curious. Sima Yifei said, look at little 7 when she was opening the stones. He kept staying at the side, but at the last moment, he directly hit the vital point. I thought that he's not bad. If he's powerful enough, we can be friends with him. What if he's not powerful enough to be friends with our Sima family? If it's an ordinary person, if you want to be friends, why do you need to have enough power? The friendship of a gentleman is as light as water. The friendship of a villain is as sweet as wine. Sima Xanshu walked in from outside, and when he heard Sima Yifei's words, he voiced out his thoughts. I was just thinking that he was able to make the people from the Alchemist Guild leave with their tails between their legs and knew that our status wasn't ordinary, but they left just like that, so I was curious. Sima Yifei said, the result is indeed very surprising. Sima Chi-Chi said, all right, you said you would refine a necklace for them. Is it done? You can't go back on your words if they come in the afternoon. Sima Yiyun asked, it's done. Sima Yifei took out a necklace. When they come in the afternoon, just insert the spirit stone in it and it'll be done. It's best that you don't go back on your words, but I got people to check on CU and little 7. Guess what news I got? Sima Xanshu said. What? There's no CU, but there's one Sima Yue. Sima Yue? The 3 of them cried out in unison. Is she from our family? Chapter 1002. The ranking of the U generation should be unique to our family. Sima Yifei said. Then she's from our clan? It may be, but it may also not be. Sima Xanshu said. I asked Uncle Lu Feng about it after I found out. He said that we had chased some of our clansmen out. Then could this Sima Yue be the descendant of the people who were chased out? Sima Chi-Chi asked. I think the possibility is very high. Sima Xanshu said. And I think she knows our identities. How so? According to the information we've gathered, she has been using her real name ever since she arrived at Cloud Sea City. She only used the name CU in front of us. This shows that she doesn't want us to know her identity. Sima Xinshu analyzed. She is hiding from us. Sima Yifei said. Even if she's not from our family, she doesn't have to hide from us, right? Sima Chi-Chi said. We're not wolves, tigers, or leopards. There must be a reason that we don't know. Sima Yiyun said. Then let's go and explore. Sima Xanshu was even more interested in Sima Yue. Don't forget our purpose for coming here this time. Sima Yun said. That won't happen. But the alchemy competition is your business. I'm just here to join the fun and dig out some interesting things. Sima Fei said. He didn't know how to refine pills in the first place, and he was only here to play with them. Refining artifacts was his forte. Sima Yun looked at her brother and knew that he was completely interested in Sima Yue, especially after knowing that she was a member of the Sima family. She will come to collect the necklace this afternoon, just in time. Sima Fei touched the necklace in his hand and smiled. We don't know what's going on yet, so don't act recklessly. Furthermore, Uncle Lu Yun and Uncle Lu Feng were on their way here. He said he wanted to confirm some things. Sima Xian Shu said, both of them are coming? Sima Chi and the others were shocked. What are they coming for? I don't know. Sima Xian Shu shook his head. After I told them Sima Yue's name, they said they wanted to come and take a look. That's fine too. Something must be related to her. It can't be? Even the two great Buddhas were alarmed. This is not an ordinary matter. Sima Fei said. So don't talk nonsense. We'll talk after Uncle Lu Yun and the others arrive. They should be here in the afternoon. Sima Xian Shu reminded. I know. Sima Fei was a little discouraged. Xian Shu, don't worry. If it's someone else, it's fine. But if it's those two uncles, he won't dare to act recklessly. Sima Chi teased with a smile. This guy was usually frivolous, but in front of those two uncles, he was very obedient. I think so too. Sima Xian Shu nodded. Reporting to young master and young miss. Young master CU is here. A guard came over and reported to the four of them. Why are you here so early? It was still quite some time before noon. Young Master CU said that little Seven couldn't wait any longer, so he came over earlier. Uncle Lu Feng told us to wait for him. How about this? The three of us will go out first and say that the necklace isn't ready yet. You wait here for Uncle Lu Yun and the rest. Sima Xian Shu said. All right. Sima Yue and little Seven sat in the living room. One was drinking tea calmly while the other was moving around on the chair, looking at the door from time to time. Two maids stood behind them and looked at Sima Yue carefully. This was that seeker spirit master? She looked so young. Sorry to have kept you waiting. Sima Xian Shu, Sima Chi, and Sima Ian walked in from outside and cupped their hands towards Sima Yue. Little Seven jumped down from the chair and said happily, My necklace. Yeah, that person isn't here? Hee. Ifei is refining the necklace for you now. It should be done in a while. You guys wait here for a while. Sima Xian Shu said with a smile. Sima Yue pulled little Seven back and said apologetically to Sima Xian Shu, You guys don't have to bother about her. Little Seven, come back and sit down. Sima Xian Shu and the other two sat down, and a maid immediately came up to serve them tea. Because the opening of the stone was delayed for a while after he came back yesterday, he will only be able to come out later. But I think he should be out soon. We're the ones who came early. Little Seven couldn't sit still in the inn and insisted on coming over. Sima Yue said with a smile. I can see that Miss Little Seven really likes that spirit stone. That's why she couldn't wait. Sima Yun said. That's the first spirit stone that she opened that is not bad. The color and appearance are nice, so she likes it very much. All right, speaking of choosing stones, the ores that you chose for us yesterday really opened our eyes. Sima Xian Shu said. Why, don't tell me you didn't open a single one. Sima Yue saw their strange expressions and thought that it shouldn't be. She had chosen a few seriously. No, it's because your rate of opening stones is too shocking. How many are there? Sima Yue thought to herself. Was it too many? 7. Sima Yun said. 7? So many? Sima Yue was a little shocked herself. She only chose 5 and casually chose 5 white stones. How could there be 7? Her expression made Sima Yun and the others puzzled. Did she not know the ores that she chose? How would they know that Sima Yue chose 5 good ones because she wanted to suppress her own strength and not let them lose too much? Then she really chose the remaining 5 casually, and it didn't look like they would open spirit stones. She didn't expect that there were 2 fish that slipped through the net. See you, Your rate of opening stones is something that even those so-called seeker spirit masters can't guarantee. Sima Chi-Chi looked at Sima Yue with admiration. I guess it's just good luck. Sima Yue laughed. Oh my god. If she knew earlier, she would have chosen the remaining 5 carefully. She would have chosen all white stones. See you, where are you from? Just when she was regretting her actions, Sima Xanshu's voice pulled her back from her thoughts. I came from a small place. Later on, I was lucky enough to enter the academy. This time, I'm following the academy to broaden my horizons. Sima Yue said, Then you want to participate in the alchemy competition? I know a little. The teachers think that I can learn more by coming. I wonder if you have any relatives? Sima Chi-Chi's question made Sima Yue's heart skip a beat. They asked about her relatives. Was it a coincidence, or did they already know something? I have a few brothers and grandpa. There are fewer people in my family. Then what about your parents? Sima Xianshu asked. My parents passed away when I was young. Really? You don't know, or you don't plan to acknowledge your parents? A sharp voice came from outside, and following that, Sima Yifei walked in with 2 men. Remember after reading, it's convenient for the next time, or... Chapter 1003. Read 336. One was calm and refreshing, while the other had an extraordinary aura. When Sima Yu saw them appear, she had a bad premonition. That person's words just now were too profound. Uncle Lu Feng, Uncle Lu Yun. Sima Chi-Chi and the others all stood up. Uncle Lu Yun? Sima Lu Yun? Was it the Sima Lu Yun that they told her about before? Sima Yue looked at the 2 people who came in. She did not know who was who. You are Sima Yue? Sima Lu Yun came to the main seat and sat down, looking at Sima Yue. Sima Yue squinted her eyes and looked at Sima Xinshu and the rest. Don't misunderstand. It's because your stone production rate is too high that I sent someone to check on you. I didn't expect you to be from the Sima family. Sima Xianshu explained when he saw that Sima Yue was a little angry. So, what are you trying to do? Who are these 2? This is Uncle Lu Yun. This is Uncle Lu Feng. Sima Xianshu introduced her. We don't have any other intentions. It's just that after knowing your name, we asked Uncle Lu Feng if you were in the family. In the end, when they heard your name, they said that they would rush over. Sima Yue looked at them, and the anger in her heart continued to rise. She was angry at them and angry at herself. If he hadn't chosen those oars for them, they wouldn't have investigated him, leading to the current situation. Yu. Lil 7 could feel Sima Yu's anger and helplessly grabbed onto her clothes. She knew about Yue and her relationship with the Sima family. If she hadn't asked them to make a necklace for her, they wouldn't have had any interactions. It's not your fault. Sima Yue patted her head. At that time, she didn't know that these people were from the Sima family, so she couldn't be blamed for this. She raised her head and looked at Sima Lu Yun, saying, I'm Sima Yue, so? Sima Lu Feng and Sima Lu Yun looked at Sima Yue, but didn't say anything. If they didn't speak, the others didn't dare to speak either. When did you find out about your situation? Sima Lu Yun pulled a long face and asked, Why should I answer your question? Sima Yue said, I don't even know you. I'm your uncle. Sima Lu Yun said, I don't know any uncle. Sima Yue said, Although my father is not the only son, my uncles died when I was young, along with my grandma and the others. Are you talking about the Yilin continent's Sima family? Sima Lu Feng said, I heard your father mention it before. My father? Sima Lu Xian, your father's name. Sima Lu Yun said. Sima Yue was silent. She finally knew her father's name, but it was not the time she wanted to know. What kind of reaction is this? Shouldn't you be agitated? Sima Lu Feng looked at Sima Yue's calm face and said in astonishment, Agitated for what? Sima Yue looked at him. You bunch of people appeared out of nowhere and told me that you're my family? Then, what do you want me to say? Ask you where is my so-called father? Why did he abandon me and ask you how to deal with me? I think it's not an impulsive action to put me in a low-grade continent, right? Little girl, you're really resentful. Sima Lu Feng sighed. Don't you think that maybe everything isn't what you think it is? Well, I think it is. No, you're wrong. I didn't think about anything. Sima Yue said, when Master mentioned my father, I didn't think about anything. I didn't think about how he looked like. I didn't think about why he handed me over to grandfather. I didn't think about why he didn't come to see me for so many years. I don't have any illusions about him. Master? Who? Sima Lu Yun asked. Don't tell me it's that guy Feng Zhixing? Sima Lu Feng said. Sima Yue silently agreed. Damn, that guy actually secretly went to Yilin continent. Sima Lu Feng shouted. Damn it. He didn't even bring me along when he went. What did he say to you? He didn't say anything. He just mentioned a little. He didn't even tell me his name. Sima Yue said, since you've already made your relationship clear, why don't you tell me why you threw me to the lower continent? Your father cares a lot about you. He never thought of abandoning you. Sima Lu Yun said, wait till you know the truth, you'll understand. The truth? What truth? You can tell me now, or you can keep on not telling me. There are many things that happened that year. You're still young. It's not suitable for you to know. Sima Lu Feng said. This again. Sima Yue smiled. Since that's the case, why are you telling me this now? Sima Lu Feng was at a loss for words. They really couldn't tell her what happened that year and couldn't bring her back to the clan. Then why did they rush over in such a hurry? We want to confirm if you're safe. Sima Lu Yun said. I'm fine now, and I'm safe. So if there's nothing else, I'll head back first. Sima Yue pulled Little Seven and turned to leave. Little Seven looked back at Sima Yifei's necklace on his hand reluctantly. He understood and threw the necklace to Little Seven. Sima Yue noticed their actions but didn't stop them. She pulled Little Seven and left. The house fell into silence again. After a while, Sima Chi gathered her courage and said, So, Sima Yue is a girl? She's our younger sister? I didn't expect Uncle Lu Xian to have a daughter, and we met her coincidentally. Sima Yun said, The guy is actually a girl. She doesn't look like one at all. Sima Yifei was even more curious about Sima Yue. He guessed that she might be the descendant of the clan members who were chased out. He didn't expect her to be such a close relative. The most important thing was that such a powerful person was actually a girl. A girl was actually so powerful. How are they going to live? Luckily, he didn't specialize in this. When he went back, he would let that arrogant seeker spirit master in the clan know what was the real deal. Uncle Lu Yin, you letting her go just like that? Sima Chi thought they would stay for a while. She didn't expect them to really let her go. We appeared too suddenly. She needs time to digest it. We also need time to know what happened to her all these years. Sima Lu Yin said, Send someone to check on her. Everything that happened all these years. Everything? Send a shadow team. Sima Lu Yun said, Let them check on everything before the end of the alchemy competition. Sima Xian Shu and Sima Yifei were flabbergasted. They actually wanted to send the shadow team to check. This had never happened before. Chapter 1004. Won't the Shadow Squad be discovered by the family? Now isn't the time to let the clan know that she's back. Sima Lu Feng asked worriedly. I always thought that she was still in the Yilin continent. Who would have thought that she was already here? We need to know about her as soon as possible so that we can protect her for Lu Xian. Sima Lu Yun said, As for the shadow team, it shouldn't be a problem if we control them well. That's true. Sima Lu Feng nodded. Since that's the case, then let them investigate. In the following days, they kept receiving news about Sima Yue, one after another. They were shocked, and their understanding of her was constantly refreshed. On the other side, Sima Yue returned to the inn. Little Seven followed beside her, not daring to even breathe loudly. She returned to her room and set up a barrier before entering the spirit pagoda. Grandfather! She came to Sima Lai's room and called out softly. Sima Lai had already withdrawn from his cultivation before she had arrived. After advancing to the divine rank, he had become younger and younger. He opened the door and saw that Sima Yue did not look too good. He asked, Yue, what's wrong? Grandpa, I want to talk to you. Sima Lai turned sideways to let her enter the house. What happened? Sima Yue sat down on the chair and looked at him. Grandfather, did my father say anything when he handed me over to you? What did he say? Sima Lai recalled that afternoon when he had just returned from the imperial palace. When he walked to the main gate of his residence, he saw the person who had saved him. Several decades had passed, but he was still the same as before. What was different from before was that there was a child in his hands, and there was a lot of grief on his face. Benefactor. He hurried over and bowed to Sima Lucian. Back then, you said that you would repay me for saving your life. Today, let me ask you, do your words still count? A gentleman's promise is worth 1,000 gold. Then I want you to raise this child for me and ensure that she grows up. Sima Lucian placed Sima Yuiwei into Sima Lai's arms. She is my daughter. Sima Lucian looked at Sima Yuiwei reluctantly. Yuiwei, her name is Sima Yuiwei. Yuiwei? Wasn't it the same generation as Yu Ming and the others? Don't worry, I will definitely raise her. Let her wear this properly. Remember not to let anyone know that she's a girl. Sima Lu Feng placed a ring into the swaddling clothes as he instructed. Then when will you come back to look for her? Sima Lai asked. I don't know. I'll come back when I can. That evening, the setting sun was like blood. Sima Yue listened to Sima Lai's recollection of that day and heard him describe Sima Lu Xian's reluctance to part with her more than once. Her body and soul had been fused for a long time, and the two had long become one. She could clearly feel Sima Lu Xian's reluctance to part with his child. What exactly happened? Sima Lai asked. I met the Sima family. They said that they are my uncles. Sima Yue said. Then did they do anything to you? Sima Lai suddenly became agitated. No. Sima Yue shook her head. Then how did they know about you? Sima Lai asked. Sima Yue told him about her encounter with the Sima family. Sima Lai was shocked when he heard it. If the Sima family was safe at that time, your father would not have placed you in the Yulin continent for me to raise. Sima Lai said, now that the situation over there is unclear, I'm afraid that something will happen. I think that at least those two people did not intend to hurt me. Sima Yue said, if they wanted to cut the weeds and eliminate the roots, they would not have let me come back today. But it's still dangerous. Sima Lai's eyes were filled with worry. He did not know what kind of family the Sima family was, but he was very clear about one thing. No matter what they were not people that they could afford to offend now. I want to know what their attitude is now. I also want to know why they placed me in the Yulin continent. Sima Yue said. Then do you want to meet them? Sima Lai asked. I haven't thought it through yet. Sima Yue took a deep breath. The alchemy competition is the day after tomorrow. The Alchemist Guild's matters have not been settled yet, so I don't know what the competition will be like. Let's talk about the family matters after the competition. In her heart, she also wanted to know about this body's father. She promised the original owner that she was her, so they were also her father and mother. Okay, Sima Lai nodded. Let's settle the matters in front of us first. These few days, we can also see their attitude. But I think that no matter what the Sima family's attitude is, your father loves you. Sima Yue looked at Sima Lai for a long time before nodding. She took out the space ring that Sima Lu Xian left behind and stared at it in a daze. Sima Lai looked at her and sighed as he shook his head. She had not settled her own matters, and now she had to deal with the Sima family's matters. He really felt sorry for her. After a while, Sima Yue left Sima Lai's room and went to another courtyard. Third Mo was reading in the courtyard. When he saw Sima Yue coming in, he waved the book in his hand at her. I realize that you have quite a lot of books here. You can read them if you like, as long as you don't tell anyone when you go out. Sima Yue walked over and sat beside him. Well said. Third Mo put down the book and said, Why do you look a little weird? What are you thinking about? Sima Yue did not expect him to be so sensitive. She thought for a while and said, I'm thinking about who I am. Third Mo raised his eyebrows. This guy actually thought of this kind of question? Why do you think so? My soul still remembers the happiness and hatred in my previous life. Many times, I feel that I am Sima Yue. But when I am with Grandpa and friends, I feel that I am Sima Yue, the girl who grew up in Yulin continent. Sima Yue said, And then? But I don't know who I am anymore. Sima Yue said, when I feel that I am Shimin Yue, I feel that I have let Sima Yue down. When I feel that I am Sima Yue, am I not Shimin Yue? You are both Sima Yue and Shimin Yue. There is no conflict. Third Mo said, but when I face my family, I still feel a little awkward. Sima Yue said, I feel that I have not completely become Sima Yue. For example, when I met her uncle this time, I did not feel like family. Speaking of my father, I feel that if they knew that the soul in their daughter's body had changed, they would definitely be sad. Chapter 1005. Read 336. I think they would be happy if they knew, said Mo-san. Why? Sima Yue was confused. Because without you, their daughter would have died. Third Mo said, you gave them hope. Sima Yue was stunned. She had never thought of this before. You haven't thought about that, have you? Third Mo chuckled. Think about it. If it weren't for you, their daughter would have already become a pile of bones. How could she still be alive and kicking in front of them and make them worry about her all the time? Sima Yue fell silent. Do you treat them as your parents? Third Mo asked. Sima Yue nodded. I promise to live on for her and find her parents. I am her, and she is me. Her parents are naturally my parents. If that's what you think, then why bother with who you are? You are both you and her. Third Mo said, you are their daughter. If they don't acknowledge you in the end, then you won't have any regrets. Besides, that's a matter for you to decide after you meet them. It's useless to think so much now, isn't it? Yes. Sima Yue nodded. Now that you've mentioned it, I think I've figured it out. You're digging yourself into a dead end. Third Mo said, I've never seen you like this before. I've never encountered something like this before. Sima Yue said with a smile. After chatting with Third Mo, she felt much better. Just as he said, she treated them as her own parents. It would be best if they recognized her, but if they didn't, she wouldn't let down the original owner. All right, why don't I see the little golden snake? Third Mo asked. It seemed to have absorbed something in the desert. It's not asleep yet, Sima Yue said. Can I go take a look? Of course. Let's go. The little golden snake was originally his, and he had opened it. In the end, it was still his. It only followed her because it liked her. She brought Third Mo to the place where the little golden snake was in seclusion. It was curled up with its head hidden in its body. The ancient aura in its body is getting stronger and stronger. What did it eat? Third Mo asked. After Sima Yue told him what had happened, Third Mo's expression turned serious. The aura on Xiao Jin's body is getting thicker and thicker. The chances of others discovering it will increase, and you'll be in more danger. Sima Yue smiled. She had a lot of treasures with her now, and she would be hunted down to the ends of the earth if she revealed any of them. You're still laughing. Third Mo said, try not to let her go out in the future. I also want to, but based on its previous behavior, I'm afraid it's unlikely. Sima Yue shrugged. This little fellow was very curious about the outside world and wanted to go out often. It was impossible for her to keep it here. Then you can't just let it be. Third Mo said, I think it's still in its infancy, but it's already so powerful. Once it grows up, I'm afraid those people won't be able to do anything to it. Sima Yue wasn't too worried. I hope so. By the way, how's the gathering of the things you wanted coming along? Other than the Bodhi mushroom, what else are you missing? Tell me if I have it here. Sima Yue said, I've already told Little Spirit. I found 2 types of herbs, but I'm still missing a few. Once I leave this place, I'll continue to search. Third Mo said, make a list of the things you need. I'll help you find them. Sima Yue said, okay. Third Mo didn't stand on ceremony with her. He told her the things he needed and the clues to these things. When Sima Yue came out of the spirit pagoda, the anger and depression in her heart had already dissipated. She regained her usual calmness. Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao knocked on the door. They followed Sima Yue out of the spirit pagoda, but didn't go out with her. Little junior brother, what happened to you? They said you ran back angrily. Han Miao Shuang saw Sima Yue open the door and asked. Sima Yue thought for a while, then turned sideways to let them in. What happened? Su Xiaoxiao saw her and asked. Sima Yue made a cup of tea for each of them and said, "It's a long story. Have some tea. I'll tell you slowly." Su Xiaoxiao and Han Miaoshuang were stunned when they heard Sima Yue say those things. They held the teacups in their hands and looked at her in a daze. Death, rebirth, there were such mysterious things in this world. So now that you met your uncles, they made you very angry? Han Miaoshuang concluded. I don't know why I'm angry. Maybe it's because I haven't seen them for so many years. They suddenly appeared and told me this and that. Plus, I had a pit in my heart, so I couldn't control my emotions. Sima Yue said, but it's fine now. Oh my God, you're actually from the Sima family. Han Miaoshuang looked at Sima Yue and said in surprise, why would they put you in a place like the Yilin continent? Who's your father? Su Xiaoxiao asked. They said he's called Sima Luxian. Pong! The teacup in Han Miaoshuang's hand fell to the ground, making a crisp sound. Su Xiaoxiao's eyes widened. What's wrong? Sima Yue was shocked when she saw their huge reaction. Your father is actually Sima Luxian. Han Miaoshuang finally found her voice. They said so. I haven't confirmed it yet. Sima Yue said, what's with your expressions? Sima Luxian? Oh my God, your father is actually Sima Luxian. I need to digest this news. Han Miaoshuang patted her chest exaggeratedly. You know my father? How can we not know? How many people in the inner regions don't know? Han Miaoshuang said, he's a famous person. I didn't expect him to be your father. Then you know him very well. Sima Yue asked. What we know is only superficial knowledge, but this superficial knowledge is already enough to make people prostrate themselves in admiration. Han Miaoshuang said, it's a pity that I haven't seen him with my own eyes. Now that he's actually your father, I'll definitely have a chance to see him in person. Be more specific. Sima Yue said. She and Feng Clan's Feng Zhixing are known as the two heroes of the inner regions. No matter if it's strength, appearance, or temperament, they're a few streets ahead of others. Your father is the first person I know to advance to monarch rank. He was only 100 years old then, right? Is that true? Han Miaoshuang looked at Su Xiaoxiao. 1 or 2 years. Su Xiaoxiao said, your master, Feng Zhixing, advanced to monarch rank at 100 years old. Advanced to monarch rank at 100 years old. Sima Yue was shocked by this talent. How heaven-defying was that? Unfortunately, I heard that something happened later. Your father and master disappeared from the inner regions and never appeared again. I heard that they came to the outer regions. Some people said that they died, but now it seems that your master is still alive and well. Han Miaoshuang said regretfully. Chapter 1006. If you want to talk about your father, you won't be able to finish it even if you talk for 3 days and 3 nights. Han Miaoshuang continued. I'll tell you slowly when I'm free. What's puzzling now is where is he now? Sima Yue shook her head. They didn't say, and it seems like they don't intend to tell me either. I feel that you shouldn't have too much contact with them now. Su Xiaoxiao continued. Your father entrusted you to your grandfather, which means that the Sima family is in danger. If they know that you're back, it might bring danger. I think so too. Sima Yue continued. I'll do my best for the alchemy competition now. We'll talk about other things later. It's rare for you to think this way. Han Miaoshuang continued. If it was me, I'd probably be so excited now. Sima Yue smiled, but didn't tell her that she also went to the Spirit Pagoda to chat with them for a long time before she calmed down. All right, since you're fine, then prepare for the alchemy competition. Han Miaoshuang said. Sima Yue sent the two of them off and suddenly missed Wu Lingyu. If he was around, she would be able to calm down faster. Father, mother, what happened that year? For the next 1.5 days, Sima Yue didn't go out again. The last time she went out, she met the Sima family. If she went out again, she didn't know what she would meet again. On the morning of the alchemy competition, Sima Yue and the people from the sect went to the huge square early. It was said that it was specially prepared for various competitions. When they entered, Sima, Yi Fei, and the others walked over. Seeing Sima Yue, he even waved at her enthusiastically. Yue, are you participating in the competition too? Or are you going to watch from the viewing platform, like me? Hope you enjoy watching. Sima Yue nodded at him faintly, turned around, and walked to the contestants' area. This brat is still angry. Sima Yi Fei touched his chin and said, You're actually thinking about this now. Sima Xanshu walked over and said, Did you see her go to the contestants' area? I saw it. Sima Yi Fei looked at him as if he was an idiot. Then his eyes suddenly widened and said, He knows how to refine pills. Not only does he know how to refine pills, his grade is definitely not low. Sima Xanshu said, What do you know? Armament refining. Sima Yi Fei continued, Don't tell me he knows how to refine armaments. We don't know if she knows how to refine weapons, but I know that she knows a lot of things. Sima Yian walked over and said, It's obvious that she's a seeker spirit master. And did you notice that Feng Zhixing is her master? What does this mean? That means she's also a formation master. Sima Chi said in surprise, He's a seeker spirit master, an array master, and an alchemist. Is this guy really human? I believe she's a pervert. Sima Yi Fei said, All right, you guys quickly go and compete. Attract this competition and win the things back. You can't lose to the Gu family. We know. Sima Chi said, You can just watch from the stand with them. We'll definitely win against the Gu family. Sima Yue and Han Miao Shuang followed Mao San Quan to the contestants' resting area and chose a seat to sit down. Instructor Mao, do you think we'll be able to find the traitor today? Han Miao Shuang sat beside Sima Yue and asked. Then we'll have to see if they'll seize power today. Mao San Quan looked at the empty rostrum and said faintly, I think the possibility is very high. Wei Zheng continued. This alchemy competition has always been hosted by the guild president and the pill subdivision head. If President Xia and the others don't appear, they'll definitely use this as an excuse to seize power. The possibility is very high, but I don't know if we can use this to find all the traitors. Su Xiao said, I don't know. It'll depend on their abilities. Sima Yue continued. To be exact, it'll depend on their subordinates' abilities. Those two guys were still carefree in her little realm. They weren't worried about what was happening here at all. Little junior brother, let me introduce you to those who are participating in the competition. Over there is Kong Junshul. Sima Yue and Su Xiao looked in the direction that Han Miao Shuang was looking at. As expected, they saw Kong Junshul and the Jiang family members walking to the opposite resting area and sitting down. That's Kong Junshul. Why do I feel like that's eldest senior brother? Su Xiao asked. It's not what you think. That's eldest senior brother. Sima Yue said confidently. Jiang Junxian felt 3 pairs of eyes on him. He glanced over and then turned to look elsewhere. He's not looking at us. Han Miao Shuang said angrily, I'll go up. Senior sister, don't be rash. Sima Yue quickly pulled Han Miao Shuang and said, If you go over now, there's nothing you can do even if he doesn't admit it. That's right. Why are you being rash? Since he's here, it's easy for you to find him. Su Xiao said, I'm going to ask him why he did that to us. Han Miao Shuang said unwillingly. There'll be a chance. Sima Yue pulled her to sit down. Now's not the time to talk about this. If he's here, then where did Kong Junshul go? Su Xiao asked. I think he caught Kong Junshul and wanted to use his identity to participate in the competition. In the end, he wanted to do something. Sima Yue said, It's possible. Han Miao Shuang calmed down and looked at Jiang Junxian. Could it be that he wants to ruin the Jiang family's reputation? He wouldn't be so stupid as to use such a method, right? As she spoke, she looked at Sima Yue and said in shock, Could it really be like that? I think it's very likely. Su Xiao said. If he really thinks that way, then he's really wrong. Sima Yue said, replacing Kong Junshul and losing in the competition, or crushing him in the competition fair and square, which one would feel better? Of course, it's the second one. Han Miao Shuang said, That's why I said he's stupid. If it was me, I definitely wouldn't do that. If it was me, I would definitely choose to slap him in the face. Half an hour later, Song Chang-jie and the others walked in under the protection of the guards. There were a few other vice presidents and vice leaders beside them. They came to the rostrum and sat down. Sima Yue noticed that Song Chang-jie sat directly on the main seat. A teacher came to the rostrum and said, "Everyone, today is the alchemy competition that happens once every 20 years. Before the competition starts, we have some things to announce." I'm guessing they're going to announce that they're going to seize power. Sima Yue said, "You don't have to think to know." Su Xiao said, "Looks like they're really going to make a move." Sima Yu's lips curled into a smile as she said faintly, "The exciting show is about to start." Chapter 1007. Everyone, before the pill competition begins, there are some things that need to be taken care of. The host said, "If it's an alchemy competition, then so be it." "What else is there?" Someone called out. "Of course it's something very important. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing it at this time." The host said, "Just tell me what it is." The host looked in Song Chang's direction and said, "Everyone knows that this pill competition has always been hosted by the guild president and the pill alliance master. But something happened this year." As soon as he finished speaking, he paused for a moment to observe the expressions of everyone here before he continued. "All of you are aware that Ocean of Cloud City hasn't been peaceful recently. For some unknown reason, large amounts of plants outside the city have turned black, and even the spirit beasts have become violent. Our president and Lord Alliance head, they went out to investigate something outside the city and haven't returned. Right now, we don't even know if they're still alive." Whoosh! The audience was in an uproar, and everyone started to discuss. How could this happen? What happened to the guild leader and the others? Oh my God! Something big is going to happen today. Everyone was shocked. Some of the smarter ones had already sensed that something was wrong. "I've long heard that they weren't in the city. I didn't expect them to not return after going out to investigate," someone said. "Then what should we do?" "Everyone, don't panic." The host waved his hands, signaling for everyone to be quiet. "President and Alliance head are both gone. Then how are we going to carry out today's pill competition?" Someone asked loudly. "This alchemy competition is a competition passed down from our ancestors. Naturally, we cannot cancel the competition." The host said, "How is the competition going to proceed without the president and the Alliance master around?" Yes. Could it be that the guild leader has returned?" "I don't think so. If he came back, he must have come out already." "Then how will the competition proceed?" "Let's wait and see. I have a feeling that today's matter won't be simple." "Everyone be quiet." The host said, "Although the president and the alliance leader are not here, we still have to continue our work. Even if we don't have the president and alliance master, we still have the vice president and vice alliance master. Over the years, there has never been a vice president or vice chief presiding over the competition." Someone questioned. "That's right, but we have something else to tell you," the host said. "What is it?" "We'll have to ask our vice president and vice alliance master to tell everyone." The host said. Everyone's gaze shifted to the rostrum. Song Changjia stood up and said to everyone, "The president told me something before he left. As for what it is, you'll know once you hear it." He took out a sound stone and raised it above his head, saying, "This is the sound stone that was brought back by the people who were looking for the president. It contains the words that the president and the alliance master said to everyone." After he finished speaking, he inserted spirit energy into it, and Xia Changtian's voice resounded through the entire plaza. "Changjia, I found some clues here. I can't give up now. I'll leave the preparations for the alchemy competition to you all. I know that the alchemy competition is a competition passed down from our ancestors. It must be presided over by the president. If I don't return before the competition, then I'll pass the position of president to you." Boom! Everyone gasped and looked at each other, unable to believe what they had just heard. The person in Xia Changtian's body didn't agree either. He anxiously cried out, "President, how can you? You don't have to persuade me. You all know that I've never wanted to be the president. I've had this thought since a long time ago. I wanted to pass the position of president to him. It's just bringing it forward. President, you can't do this. You don't have to say anymore. I've already made up my mind. Changjia, remember, you must ensure that the alchemy competition continues smoothly. The voice stopped here. Following that, another voice rang out. It was Zhao Xiangqi's voice. His meaning was similar to the previous one. He also said that he wanted to pass the position to the Vice Alliance Master of the Pills Subdivision, Zhao Xiangrui. This Zhao Xiangrui is Zhao Xiangqi's biological younger brother. He actually covets his older brother's position. Sima Yue shook her head and said, "There's a huge difference between the two." Han Miao Shuang said, "I don't know why things like power are so attractive. The feeling of being able to call the wind and summon the rain is naturally different from the feeling of always being inferior to others." Su Xiao said, "This is the most attractive part." "That's right." Mao San Quan nodded in agreement. "But there will always be those who don't care about fame and fortune." Sima Yue said, "At least I don't see any of you having such thoughts. All of you are thinking about how to pass the guts to others. That's why people say that different people have different pursuits." Han Miao Shuang said, "Some people think that it's good, some don't. Like me, I think that eating is the best." "Foodie." Su Xiao looked at her with disdain. "Hee, I'm proud of being a foodie." Han Miao Shuang raised her head proudly. Sima Yue laughed and shook her head. "You, as long as you eat, everything will be fine. All right, stop talking. Let's continue to watch the show." After Zhao Xiangqi finished speaking, the entire arena was in an uproar. They didn't think that something like this would happen. The president was a gifted person. This was such a huge matter. "Quiet, quiet." The MC shouted, but everyone still didn't stop discussing. Everyone was expressing their own thoughts and feelings. After 10 minutes, the entire arena finally calmed down. "Everyone quiet," the MC shouted again. This time, everyone finally quietened down. "The president and chief's intentions are very clear. Now, what I have to do is to follow their wishes and let Vice President Song and Vice President Zhao take over the position of president and chief." The MC said, "Because this is a special period for the alchemy competition, the succession ceremony will be held after the competition. Greetings to the president and chief." Greetings to the president and chief. Many people stood up and bowed towards Song Changjia and Zhao Xiangrui. The other group of people didn't move. They sat in the same place with no intention of getting up. "What do you want to do?" The MC looked at those people and asked unhappily. "Without seeing the president, we don't believe that he will give up the position of president." Someone said, "That's right. Song Chang, Jia wants to use a soundstone to seize power. That's impossible. With the president's words, you still won't admit it." "Of course not. Don't tell me you want to rebel." The MC dragged his voice, his eyes revealing a cold intent. "Rebel? You're the ones rebelling. Do you think that just because you took out a fake soundstone, we'll admit it? Don't tell me you can't recognize the president's voice. We know that it's the president's voice, but this voice can be imitated. We definitely won't admit it." "That's right. Is that so?" Song Chang Jia looked at those people and waved his hand. A group of guards quickly ran in from outside. Chapter 1008. Those guards ran in and stood in a row around the plaza, facing the people on the viewing platform. "Please search the book to see the most complete update of the fastest." "Song Changjia, what do you mean by this? How dare you call the president's name?" The host said, "You're doubting the previous president's intentions and disrespecting the current president. If you continue to do this, we can only arrest you." Sima Yu looked at the guards, each of them looking fierce and murderous. This group of people are not ordinary guards. Mao Sanquan said, "Don't act blindly without thinking." Sima Yu cursed in her heart and started to think of what to do now. Xiaochang Tian and the others were still in her little realm. According to the plan, she would let them out here. But now it seemed that she didn't dare to act blindly without thinking, let alone find a secret place. Could it be that she had to expose the fact that she had a little realm in front of so many people? She looked around and rejected the idea. There were many eyes here. There might be people who had designs on her. Snatching treasures was a common thing in this world. But what should she do in this situation? Wait and see. Let nature take its course. Han Miao Shuang saw that the situation was not right and instructed softly. Sima Yi nodded, and little Seven grabbed her hand. Song Chang Jia, what do you mean by this? Isn't today the alchemy competition? You've already arranged guards outside. In view of what happened outside the city and the theft of the Bodhi mushroom, we decided to be careful. If someone comes to cause trouble, it's better to have more guards. The host said, You're obstructing us here. Are you in cahoots with those people? In cahoots with your sister. A man jumped up and scolded. Song Chang Jia, if you want to be the president, unless you see the president with your own eyes and hear him say it himself, we won't acknowledge you. You want to see the president? Song Chang Jia narrowed his eyes and looked at him. The guard standing in front of that person took out a spirit weapon and attacked him. A strong pressure froze that person, making him unable to move. He could only watch as the spirit weapon was about to pierce his heart. Ding! A dart flew over and deflected the spirit weapon. At the same time, a force wrapped around the guard and threw him back. Who is it? The host looked in the direction where the darts came from, but he didn't see anyone there. Song Changjia, if you want to be the president, have you asked for our opinion? A loud voice came from the door. Sima Yue was excited when she heard the voice. The God Valley Lord led Ing by Chuan and a group of divine Devil Valley disciples in through the main door. After they entered, they looked around and paused when they saw Sima Yu. Martial uncle. Sima Yue moved her lips and greeted him. The Valley Lord nodded and looked at Song Changjia and Zhao Xiangrui. You want to seize power? Have you asked for our permission? Liang Wuming, I thought you wouldn't come, the host said in a strange tone. Song Jiang, you want to stop my divine Devil Valley with those people you sent? You must be dreaming. The God Valley Lord, Liang Wuming, snorted coldly. I really underestimated your divine Devil Valley strength. I didn't expect you to have so many Thunderbolt bombs. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to come here. The truth is that we came here. Liang Wuming said, Since we're here, you should wake up from your dream of power. Do you think it's useful for your divine Devil Valley to come here? Song Changjie said, You don't know. Today, you can only enter this plaza, but you can't leave. Are you talking about the people you arranged outside? Liang Wuming said, Do you think they'll let us in? What do you mean? Zhao Xiangrui had a good relationship with the divine Devil Valley and knew their strength. Hearing him say this, he had a bad feeling. You've already guessed it, haven't you? Liang Wuming said, Your people have already been taken care of by us. How is that possible? The people we arranged outside are all experts. With your divine Devil Valley strength, how could you defeat them silently? If there was a battle, how could they not hear anything? Don't you know that my divine Devil Valley has poison masters? You actually used poison. Zhao Xiangrui shouted. Do you have no morals? Are you stupid? Liang Wuming looked at him mockingly. Firstly, my divine Devil Valley has never said that we are a righteous sect. Our motto has always been to follow our heart, whether we use poison or not. As long as we are happy, we are willing. What can you do? Secondly, Liang Wuming interrupted him and said, Since when do you want to usurp power? Do we still need to talk about the morals of the underworld with you? I think your IQ is worrying. Everyone laughed out loud. Some of the inner powers who had been watching coldly from the sidelines also laughed. Do you think that you can deal with us with just this group of people? If you ignore the previous president and the Alliance Master's words, we can definitely capture you. The previous president, you said that soundstone. Do you dare to say that it was really your president who said it? Liang Wuming asked. Can't you tell from the president's voice? Of course I can tell from the president's voice. But what you said is not the real president. What do you mean? Someone asked. Could it be that what they heard was not what the president said? The literal meaning. Liang Wuming said. That soundstone was not said by the president at all. It was forged by them. Forged things can be forged. But can a voice be forged? Of course. Liang Wuming said. There is no one in this world who has the same voice. The host said coldly, With such concrete evidence, you still want to deny it. Divine Valley Lord, Why did you say that it was forged? Some of the neutral powers asked. Do you have evidence? If that voice was the president's, then they would naturally follow his wishes and treat Song Changjie as the president. If it wasn't, then they would definitely not admit it. The evidence will be here soon. Liang Wu Ming said. Wait for 2 minutes. You will naturally know. So Peng. A figure fell from the sky and landed harshly in front of everyone. Everyone seemed to have heard the sound of bones breaking. The evidence that you want is here. Red stood in the sky. She was the one who had thrown that person out. Red. When Zhao Xiangrui saw Red, he subconsciously took a step back. Lord Red has always been with the president. If she is here, then wouldn't the president be here too? Peng. Just as everyone was discussing, another person was thrown to the ground. This book came from Pin and Book #net /. Chapter 1009. When they saw the 2 people on the ground, everyone was puzzled. Song Changjie, Zhao Xiangrui, and the others' expressions changed instantly. Gao Jihong flew in from the other side of the square with a few guards beside him. At the same time, a few other guards flew in from outside and arrived behind Red Robe, saying, Sect Master, those people outside have been dealt with. Hong, he nodded, then flew down and stood beside the person on the ground. She casually kicked him, looked at Zhao Xiangrui, and sneered. Zhao Xiangrui, you've grown bold. Now they even dare to do such a thing. Zhao Xiangrui appeared to be very afraid of the Red Spectre. When he saw her questioning him with a cold face, his body shivered involuntarily. You guys really managed to escape, Song Jiang said. Not only did we escape, we even brought your people back to you. Redcoat said. Who are these 2 people? Someone couldn't hold back and asked. Who else could it be? Aren't they the guild master and alliance master that you've heard about? Gao Jihong flew to Redcoat's side and kicked the man, causing him to face up. Song Changjie, do you still recognize your people? Song Changjie remained silent with a cold face. Come, let's learn for what you said before. Gao Jihong said. The person on the ground did not speak. What? Do you want to have a taste of my 18 tortures? The Red Spectre glanced at the man. That person's body trembled and his eyes flashed with struggle. He then opened his mouth and said, Changjie, I found some clues. About the alchemy competition. That person imitated Xia Changtian's voice and repeated what he said before. Sima Yue whispered, Is this Redcoat very powerful? Those people seem to be afraid of her. Hong, he has quite a reputation in the central region. She is the leader of the Red Flower sect. Because she likes the alliance leader, she often follows him. Han Miao Shuang said. How did you know? Sima Yue turned to look at her. Heh. Don't you know that we have a very gossipy master? Han Miao Shuang said. Every time he comes here, he will tell us anything interesting. Although most of the time, we don't want to hear it. Then why are those people so afraid of her? Sima Yue asked. Safflower sect is a cult in the eyes of others. The current sect leader, Hong Yi, is even more vicious and merciless. She created 18 tortures that made many people tremble in fear. Many people in the Pill subdivision are afraid of her. Han Miao Shuang said, I really want to see it. Little Seven blinked her big eyes and said with a smile. Once you see it, you won't want to see it again, Su Xiao said. Have you seen it before? Seven asked. No, but I've heard about it from Master. Su Xiao recalled Su Jin's description and felt a little nauseous. The 18 tortures of a Red Spectre? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. She wanted to see for herself. After that person finished speaking, everyone in the venue was stunned. Song Changjie, Zhao Xiangrui, you actually dare to do this? Do you really think we're fools? Someone cursed. Isn't that so? Little Seven muttered. If Hong, Yi, and the others hadn't exposed the Soundstone, these people would have believed it. If they weren't idiots, then what were they? If the president and alliance head are fake, then where are they? Zhan Xing stood up and asked, ever since the president and alliance head went out to investigate the situation outside the city, they haven't returned. Now that so much time has passed, we don't even know if they're dead or alive. To put it bluntly, if they're really dead, then the position of president and alliance head would belong to the vice president and vice alliance head. Why would they do such a thing? That's because you can't kill us, Gao Jihong said. For such a long time, you've been sending people to kill us, wanting the president and alliance head to die outside forever. Since you can't kill us, you can only do such things to usurp power. Gao Jihong, don't slander us. You're clearly the one who betrayed the Union, betrayed the president and the others, and now you're actually trying to frame us. Zhan Xing said, the president went out with you, and, as the leader of his guards, you came back alive. What does this mean? I think you should properly explain how you killed the president and the others, right? Senseless framing, Gao Jihong said. At this moment, two people ran in from outside, came to Song Chongjie's side, and whispered something in his ear. You're here? Song Chongjie's face immediately became happy and said, go, call the people from the cloud protection team over. Yes, President. That person accepted the order and left. Gao Jihong, seeing that we've known each other for a few hundred years, I advise you to obediently surrender. Song Chongjie said, just based on a few of you, there's no way you can fight against us. Seeing that we've known each other for so long, I'll give you a piece of advice. Don't be stubborn and let yourself be captured. Gao Jihong imitated his tone and said, your people have already been killed by us. Just based on the people you have here, you're not our match. Gao Jihong, don't be so shameless. Zhan Xing pointed at Gao Jihong's nose and scolded. You guys talk a lot of nonsense. Red picked his ears and said impatiently, you guys are blabbering like this. I can directly put people down. Gao Jihong saw Red flipping out and said, it's not like I wanted to. Red rolled her eyes at him, then said to Zhao Xiangrui and Song Chongjie, you too, are you going to surrender or not? If you don't surrender, I'm going to make a move. After speaking, she didn't wait for them to reply and immediately made a move. Those guards immediately started fighting. All kinds of spirit skills flew in all directions, and the entire square became chaotic. Sima Yue was delighted. In such a chaotic situation, no one would notice her movements. Then no one would find out when she secretly took out the door to the little realm. Cover me for a while, she said to Han Miao Shuang and the others. Han Miao Shuang, Su Xiao Xiao, and Little Seven blocked her surroundings. She looked around and found that no one was paying attention to her. So she took out the little door and called out Xia Chong Tian and Zhao Xiangqi, who were still chatting inside. Stop! Xia Chong Tian's deep voice resounded throughout the square, causing everyone who was fighting to quieten down. President? Seeing the two of them appear out of nowhere, everyone was shocked. Oh, you still know that I'm your president? Didn't you guys recognize a new president? Xia Chong Tian glanced at those people. That kind of imposing aura emitted without being angry, causing many people to lower their heads. He was currently filled with a stomach full of unhappiness, and now he didn't like who he looked at. According to his original plan, he would come out before entering the square. That way he would be able to make a grand entrance. But he didn't expect that the two of them would be arguing endlessly because of alchemy and forget about this. So he could only come out like this. Chapter 10:10. Read 336. The moment Xia Chong Tian and Zhao Xiangqi appeared, the entire situation changed. Those neutral powers immediately sided with them. Only Song Chongjie and Zhao Xiangrui's trusted aides were still stubbornly resisting. How did you guys get in? Zhao Xiangrui looked at them in surprise. There was a barrier here. It was impossible for Xia Chong Tian to force his way in. Even if they managed to enter, with so many people in the city, it was impossible for there to be no news of them. It wasn't just Xia Chong Tian and Zhao Xiangqi. Gao Jihong and the other guards also seemed to have suddenly appeared in the city. These days, they had been opposing them everywhere. Even though they had sent out many people, they still couldn't catch them. However, no matter how Gao Jihong and Hong jumped around, they didn't put it to heart. But with Xia Chong Tian and Zhao Xiangqi coming out, the meaning was completely different. You don't have to worry about how we came in. Xiaochang Tian said, "Now I'll only ask you one thing. Surrender or not?" "Surrender? Ha ha!" Song Chong Jie laughed out loud as if he had heard the funniest thing in the world. "All these years, you've thrown everything aside and studied alchemy, leaving all the matters of the Union to me. I've worked so hard for so many years, but I'm still suppressed by you. I've had enough of these days. So you betrayed me and poisoned me outside the city with the people from the inner regions to lure me out." Xiaochang Tian felt a bit of pain in his heart. He had always nurtured Song Chong Jie to be the next president, but he didn't expect him to have such an attitude. When the surrounding people heard this, they all gasped. The incident outside the city was actually caused by Song Changjie and Zhao Xiangrui. So those people who died because of the investigation were all killed by them. Lord Envoy did not return. "I knew that you already knew." Song Changjie did not deny it and said, "But even if you know the reason, what's the use? The ending was the same. You are destined to serve His Majesty." "My lord," Zhao Xianqi frowned, "it seems that you have completely surrendered to that power and have even thrown away your dignity." "Dignity? After following you for so many years, my dignity has long been worn away by your orders. But it's different if you follow Her Highness. She can make you suffer a crushing defeat with just a little trick. Although I don't know why you survived, the result will be the same." "Results? We're back. Your plans have failed." Zhao Xianqi said, "The members of the Cloud Protection Team listen to me and Chang Tian. Can you still order them around?" "Ha ha! Do you think the current Cloud Protection Team is still the same as before?" Song Changjie laughed heartily. "You can give them an order and see if they will listen to you." Xiaochang Tian looked at the guards who were pointing their weapons at them. "What did you do to them?" Xiaochang Tian asked. "I didn't actually do anything." Song Changjie said, "Although those people directly take orders from the president, after so many years, they have long leaned towards me. Haven't you noticed that the Cloud Protection Team has lost a lot of familiar faces and has gained a lot of new ones?" "That's right. You were busy refining pills, so you naturally didn't notice." The Cloud Protection Squad was a squad that belonged to the Guild Master and the Alliance Master. However, it had now become Song Changjie's men. "You guys actually betrayed us." Gao Jihong angrily looked at his former brothers, his gaze gradually turning cold. "Captain, don't blame us. We're just good birds that choose a tree to nest in." Someone said, "Your self-awareness is not bad. You know that you're a beast." Hong Yi said, "Hong Yi, your safflower sex people have all been taken care of by us. I wonder if you found their bones?" "Umph, I will definitely make you pay with your blood." Hong Yi said, "With just you guys? Come, kill them all." Zhan Xing had never liked Hong Yi. Whenever he saw her, he would subconsciously think of her torture. Now that he finally had the chance to take care of her, he naturally wouldn't let it go. "Protect the President and Alliance Master." The moment the guards moved, people flew down from the stands. They could ignore others, but they had to protect the President and Alliance Master. The moment they moved, those who followed them and those who were against them also moved. Sima Yue then realized that the rest was divided into 4 groups. One group was from the inner regions. They wouldn't care about this matter. One group was Song Changjie's men, one was neutral, and one was following Xiaochang Tian. Once they moved, other than the people from the inner regions, everyone else moved. The entire scene became even more chaotic. "You guys stay here. You're not allowed to go out." Mao Sanquan activated the defensive array and instructed the students. He then brought Wei Zheng and the rest out. Little 7, protect everyone. Sima Yue saw that the Divine Devil Valley's people were outside. Many of them were attacked. She followed Mao Sanquan and flew out. They fought as they went to the Divine Devil Valley. Senior uncle, senior brother. Sima Yue came to their side and happened to save a disciple who was surrounded. "Why did you come out?" Ing Bai Chuan saw Sima Yue coming over and said, "Quickly return to the defensive array. Their attacks are too fierce. Let's go back together." Sima Yue shouted at him. "Bai Chuan, bring them to the defensive array." Liang Wu Ming shouted. "Yes, master." Ing Bai Chuan replied, "Follow us." He and Sima Yue brought them to where the academy was. Little Seven opened the array to let them in. Thank you, Junior Valley Master. Sima Yue was a little surprised and asked, How did you know it was me? Other than you, no one can call the Valley Lord's senior uncle. That person laughed. That's true. Sima Yue turned to look at the situation outside and said, The situation doesn't look good. The Cloud Protection Squad betrayed us. This is unexpected. I don't know if they have any trump cards. Otherwise, I'm afraid this battle. Su Xiao said worriedly. I think so too. I think Captain Gao and the rest have more skills than this. Han Miao Shuang believed in them. They won't even listen to the president. I'm afraid it's impossible to make them stop. Little Seven said. I think so too. Ingbai Chuan said, but you don't have to worry too much. Those people will come after settling the people outside. Those people? The previous Cloud Protection Squad, Safflower Sect's disciples, and other backup. Ingbai Chuan said. Where are they now? They're cleaning up Song Chong Jie's backup. If they don't come soon, I'm afraid the situation will be out of control. Ingbai Chuan saw the one-sided situation and was a little worried. But those backup obviously didn't show any signs of coming early. Time passed bit by bit. Every minute and every second seemed so unbearable. Chirp, chirp. Just when everyone thought the situation was settled, a phoenix cry came from the sky, making Sima Yue happy. Chapter 10-11. Chirp, chirp. Everyone looked up and saw phoenixes flying over. For the latest chapter, please go to Literature Building. Phoenix Clan? It's the Swanee clan, which is ranked relatively high among the phoenixes. How did they get here? Someone must have let them in. That barrier is indestructible. It's really bye-bye. Chirp, chirp. The phoenix flew to the sky above the square and circled the air a few times. The battle below stopped. Brother. Rainbow flew down from the sky and landed beside Sima Yue. Then, Lu Fei flew down with his men and landed around them. When Sima Yue saw Rainbow and the rest, she was very surprised and asked, Why are you guys here? We happen to be nearby and received news that something was going on here. Originally, we didn't want to come, but we got the news that you were here, so we rushed over. Rainbow said, Then how did you get in? How did you get in? He flew in. Rainbow said, I saw you flying in. Is there need to ask? You don't have an invitation, and it's impossible for you to break the barrier. How did you get in? Sima Yue asked. Barrier? When we came in, there was no enchantment. Rainbow said, When we came in, there was no one guarding the city gate, nor was there any enchantment blocking us. The guards guarding the city are all Song Chong Jie's men. They should have already been dealt with. Ingbai Chuan said, Young master, do you want us to take action? Lu Fei asked. Let's wait and see. Sima Yue said, Tao clan, it's best if you don't get involved in human affairs. Song Changjia said to Lu Fei in a threatening tone, I'm not interested in the affairs of you humans, but since you've offended the young master, we have no choice but to intervene. Lu Fei said, Young master? Song Changjia narrowed his eyes at Sima Yue. This human? I see that you've always been thinking about how to usurp power. You don't even know that the King of the Rocks has appeared. Xiaochong Tian said, The golden-winged Great Peng has recognized a human as his master. All the other birds have to listen to his orders. This is the human. Song Changjia looked at Sima Yue. Other than her good looks, there was nothing special about her. He did not expect her to be the contractor of the King of Birds. Rainbow, how many people do you have? Sima Yue asked when she saw that the reinforcements had not arrived yet. There's a total of over 100 of them, and the weakest is a high-level sacred beast. Most of them came in, but a small half of them were stopped by the guards outside. Rainbow said, But those people are no match for us. They should be able to rush over in a moment. That's good. If we have to fight later, you can directly kill those people. Sima Yue said, There is no need to give those treacherous people a chance to start over. All right. Lu Fei nodded. With the addition of Tao Wu, the situation changed again. From Song Changjia's side at the beginning, to Red and the others joining the battle, to the betrayal of the Cloud Protection Team, and finally, Tao Wu's appearance, and the situation changed again. This show was getting better and better. Gu Shichao sat in his seat, watching the show with great interest. He was not interested in the matters of the outside forces. He came here to participate in the competition, but it would be good if he could watch a good show before the competition. Next to the Gu family was the Sima family. Sima Yiyun and the others were shocked. She's actually the contractor of the King of Rocks. Sima Chi cried out softly, her face full of disbelief. Sima Xian Shu and the others had similar expressions, as if they were looking at a monster. No matter what the reason was that forced her to leave, she definitely has the right to return to the family now. Sima Yiyun said excitedly. With her talent, even if she returns to the family, she will be heavily nurtured. Sima Chi said, at least heavily nurtured. If she goes back, I think the family head will not even look at us. Sima Xian Shu smiled bitterly. He always felt that he was not bad, but compared to her, the difference was too big. Uncle Lu Xian really gave birth to a good daughter, a good son. Sima Yiyun sighed. If he knew that his child was so outstanding, I wonder how excited he would be. It's a pity that his whereabouts are unknown. Sima Chi sighed. Uncle Lu Feng and Uncle Lu Yun have been looking for him for so many years. They even used the shadow team, but they couldn't find him. I'm afraid the result won't be good. Sima Xian Shu said. If he can't even take a look at such an outstanding child, how regretful would he be? I wonder if a miracle will happen. It will. Although his life jade is full of cracks, it hasn't really broken. I think he should still be alive. Sima Yiyun said. Even if it's for such an outstanding child, he has to live well. I also believe that Uncle Lu Xian is still alive. He is such a legendary figure. How could he fall so easily? Sima Chi said. I feel the same. Sima Xian Shu said. I have a feeling that if she returns to the family, Uncle Lu Xian will return too. Sima Yiyun said. I can't wait to see how Uncle Lu Feng and the others look when they find out about this news. Sima Chi said. They'll definitely be surprised. Sima Yiyun said. The disciples and the family have been scolded badly by them. Now that Yue has appeared, I really can't wait to see how they look like. Let's see if they can get through this first. The leading elder of the Sima family said. 10th elder, do you think there will be more changes? Sima Chi asked. Look, Song Changjie and Zhao Xiang Rue aren't worried. It's obvious that they still have a trump card. 10th elder Sima Wen said. Indeed. Sima Yiyun observed those people. Although Swan and I had joined in, they only frowned. Chapter 10-12. Read 336. The two sides were locked in a stalemate, and the situation could erupt at any moment. Go! Gao Jihong roared and attacked Song Jiang, who was not far away. The two sides started fighting again. This time, with the addition of Bayan, more than half of the Cloud Protection Team was quickly wiped out. Song Changjie saw that the situation was not right and took out something to crush. Very quickly, Sima Yu sensed some movement in space and opened up a spatial tunnel. A group of masked people walked out from it. Judging from the aura they were emitting, everyone had a common understanding that these people were from the inner region. The faces of the people in the inner circle who had been watching the show sank when they saw these people appear. Are the forces from the inner regions meddling in the affairs here? Lord Left Emissary, save us! Song Changjie shouted at that person. The so-called Lord of the Left Emissary glanced at Song Changjie and Zhao Xiangrui with a malicious gaze, causing a chill to run down their spines. If you can't even do something like this, how are you going to serve the Lord? With a wave of his hand, Song Changjie and Zhao Xiangrui were sent flying by a gust of wind and landed heavily on the ground. This subordinate has failed in his task. Please punish me, Lord Left Emissary. Zhao Xiangrui hurriedly admitted his mistake. A hint of ruthlessness flashed through Song Changjie's eyes, but it disappeared in an instant. He stood up, lowered his head, and said, This subordinate has failed in his task. Please punish me, Lord Left Emissary. Useless trash. The Left Emissary turned his gaze towards Xia Changtian and the others, and ordered the people behind him, kill them on the spot. Yes, Left Emissary. Those men in black were all monarch rank experts. Although there were many monarch rank experts on this side, the other side was much stronger. The situation had changed once again. Sima Yu's heart sank when she saw the situation. Why was it so troublesome to deal with these people? She looked at the entire venue. The people in the inner circle didn't make a move because this was an outside matter. They didn't dare to casually participate. But now that the inner circle was involved, would they make a move? She looked at the Sima family and felt that her previous idea was unlikely. How could they possibly get involved? But if this continued, it wouldn't be long before Xia Changtian and the others would be defeated. PFFF. Mao Sanquan was hit. He spat out a mouthful of blood and retreated. Director Mao, Sima Yue and Little Seven flew out. Sima Yue helped him up while Little Seven stood guard in front of them. The three of them retreated back into the defense array. Instructor Mao, eat this pill. Sima Yu took out a pill and fed it to him. After Mao Sanquan ate the pill, he felt much better. This can't go on. They can't hold on any longer. Han Miao Shuang said, I didn't think that the people from the inner regions would come. Even if we wait for those reinforcements to arrive, we might not be able to win. Ing Bai Chuan said, then what should we do? No one said anything. No one knew what else they could do. Just as Ing Bai Chuan had said, the reinforcements soon arrived, but they were still no match for the forces in the inner area. The Left Emissary stood in the air and looked at Xia Changtian, who was protected in the middle by the crowd. He condensed spiritual energy in his hands and attacked. The guards around him were sent flying by the spiritual energy, and Xia Changtian was engulfed in flames. Gao Zhihong saw that Xia Changtian was engulfed in flames and suddenly went crazy. He slashed his opponent in half and ran over to disperse the flames. Changtian. His bloodshot eyes were stunned when he saw that Xia Changtian was unharmed. Xia Changtian didn't react in time. It was as if he had just walked through the gates of hell. Everyone was stunned by this strange scene. However, they immediately reacted. He was saved by someone. Great! Sima Yoyue's voice woke everyone up. Xia Changtian felt the imprisonment around him disappear. At the last moment, Sima Yue used a spatial lock to seal the space around Xia Changtian. Naturally, the flames couldn't burn him. Gao Zhihong looked at her gratefully and stood guard beside Xia Changtian. The Left Emissary looked at Sima Yue. He didn't expect her to use a spatial lock to save Xia Changtian's life. His eyes flashed with ruthlessness as he charged towards her. You want to hurt my Yu? Little Seven went over and started fighting with the Left Emissary. Little Seven is so powerful. The people from the academy exclaimed when they saw that Little Seven wasn't at a disadvantage at all. They knew that Little Seven was powerful and could take down all the guards from the Alchemist Guild. But they didn't expect her to be so powerful. Many black-robed men saw that the Left Emissary was being held back by Little Seven and attacked Sima Yue. They were all monarch-ranked experts. Sima Yue couldn't fight them head-on. Pooh! Those who attacked Sima Yu all exploded and died. This scene was even stranger than the one just now. Who is it? Song Chong Jia looked around and didn't see such a powerful person. Since when can people from the inner regions interfere with the matters of the outer regions? A figure silently appeared in the air and glanced at everyone. They immediately felt suffocated. Sima Yue recognized that person. It was the steward of the Xianxiu clan. Xianxiu Lai saw that she was looking at him and said, Young master was afraid that today's matter would hurt you. That's why he asked me to come and take a look. Sima Yue nodded at him. Thank you. Who are you? The Left Emissary and Little Seven separated. He looked at Xianxiu Lai and felt a sense of fear. This person was definitely more powerful than a monarch-ranked expert. The matters of the Alchemist Guild are not something you can interfere with. Put away your little abacus. Scram! Xianxiu Lai shouted, and those black-robed men all spat out blood. It was just a light shout, and it was already like this. How terrifying was his power? Everyone looked at him. He was just a skinny old man, but he made them feel like ants looking up at a tall mountain. Why? You don't want to leave? Xianxiu Lai squinted his eyes, and his killing intent intensified. Let's go. The left emissary thought about it. Since they were no match for him, they would only die if they stayed here. It was better to stay alive and accept the punishment. At least they had a chance to live. He opened a space tunnel and left with his men. Lord Left Emissary, don't leave us behind. Zhao Xiangrui saw that they were really leaving and shouted. But the other party did not intend to bother. After the black-robed men went in, the space tunnel closed. Xianxiu Lai cupped his hands towards Sima Yue and said, Young Master said that if young Master Yue is free, you should visit the courtyard. Yue will definitely visit another day. Sima Yue returned the greeting. The other party had saved his life, and he owed him a favor. No matter what, he had to personally thank the other party. Xianxiu Lai saw the gratitude in Sima Yue's eyes and smiled in satisfaction. His figure flashed and disappeared. Sima Yue saw that Xiachong Tian and the rest were still in a daze and said, President, Alliance Head, shouldn't we settle the matters here? Chapter 10:13. Read 336. When Xiachong Tian and the others left the city, the people from the Xianxiu clan didn't come, so they didn't see them. Now, seeing such a person suddenly appear, he and Zhao Xianqi were not mentally prepared at all. Only when Xianxiu Lai left, and Sima Yue reminded them, did they regain their senses. Yue, who is that? Xiachong Tian asked. People from the Xianxiu clan. President, you don't know? Sima Yue was surprised. The Xianxiu clan has come to the city. Xiachong Tian spoke with surprise. I never expected that a hidden clan would come here as well. Since that force from the inner region dares to appear here in public, I think they no longer intend to hide their identity. Zhao Xianqi said, if it wasn't for this expert, it would have been difficult for us to take down these people today. Let's not talk about that for now. Let's deal with the matters here first. Gao Jihong said, let's settle things first. Xiachong Tian replied. He wasn't good at dealing with these things, but someone would do it for him. Soon, Song Changjie, Zhao Xiangrui, and the others were all captured. The corpses were also disposed of as a warning to those who were disloyal, but had yet to express their disloyalty. Since things had turned out like this today, the competition could not continue. Therefore, after a final discussion, the alchemy competition was postponed for 10 days. The remaining people returned to their own residences to wait. Zhao Xiangqi and Hong Yi brought the people back to the Dan Alliance. As people who had contributed greatly, the people from the academy followed Xiachong Tian and the others to the Alchemist Guild. This was her second time here. Unlike the last time she was captured, this time she was treated very well. The news of her saving Xiachong Tian at the plaza had already spread throughout the entire Cloud Sea City. Being able to use spatial seal at such a young age, being an alchemist who was going to participate in the competition, and even having a Rock King as her contracted beast, many powers were tempted by her and fantasized about her joining them. Along the way, she felt as if she was Tang Seng's meat that was coveted by others. Many people would come up to her and greet her politely and introduce themselves. She didn't like this feeling, so she dragged little Seven and Han Miao Shuang to the medicine garden to relax. She called out little Roar to fuse with him, but before he could open the enchantment disappeared. There's someone here, Seven said. Sima Yue looked inside and saw Xianxiu. He's sitting in the garden looking at them. Why are you here? Seven asked. I'm smelling the medicinal herbs. This is something I have to do every day. Xianxiu, he smiled and said, Is that so? Little Seven sniffed. The herbs here are all very ordinary. They're not as good as yours. A world in a flower, a Bodhi in a leaf. Although these medicinal herbs are not that expensive, they have their own uses and tastes. Xianxiu, he continued, not all medicinal herbs are the same. Xianxiu, his faint aura calmed Sima Yo-Yue's restless heart. "Thank you for today," she said as she walked up to him. "I've said it before, we're friends. Since I know that you're involved in this matter, it's only right for me to send someone over to take a look." "Xianxiu," he said, "there's no need for thanks between us." Sima Yue was a little embarrassed. Why did this guy make it sound like they had a good relationship? As expected, Han Miao Shuang and the rest misunderstood. "Little junior brother, are you very familiar with this young master?" Han Miao Shuang asked. "Let me introduce you guys. This is Xianxiu clan's young master. This is my senior sister Han Miao Shuang. This is my senior brother Su Xiao Xiao. This is Rainbow." "Young master Xianxiu? The person who saved you today was talking about young master?" Han Miao Shuang said. "Yes." Sima Yue said, "We're friends. You guys know that we know each other. Didn't I tell you guys the last time I came back? He's the one who brought us out." "You said he's a friend. So it's him," Han Miao Shuang said. "You guys haven't known each other for long. Some people, even if you know each other for 1,000 years, you can't become friends. And some people, you just need a glance to recognize them." "Xianxiu," he said. Sima Yue nodded in agreement. She believed in this too. Affinity was important, but it wasn't absolute. "That's true," Han Miao Shuang said. "Some people just can't become friends. Since you guys are friends, you guys can chat. We'll go to other places first. Since you guys are Yo-Yue's senior brother and senior sister, let's go together. After such a thing happened, this place is probably the only quiet place." "Xianxiu," he said. He waved his hand, and the enchantment that was removed was rearranged. "Since that's the case, let's just stay here," Sima Yue said. "Those people outside are really a headache. I didn't expect Yue to be so outstanding. People from the sect will come out and join other forces in the future. They're more interested in you. Naturally, they want to build a relationship with you." "Xianxiu," he said. He already knew about Sima Yue. At that time, he was very surprised too. It took him a while to digest the news. A person from the lower continents could actually reach this stage in such a short time. He didn't know if it was because her talent was too demonic or because the others were too weak. Sima Yue saw how calm he was and suddenly said, "Did you guys inform Rainbow and the others?" Xianxiu, he smiled. "If the people from the inner regions didn't make a move, it wouldn't be good for us to make a move. Coincidentally, we knew that they were nearby, so we got someone to inform them. That meant that he already knew that she had the King of the Rocks." Thinking about it, even if he didn't investigate, his clansmen would have sent people to investigate her. For people with their abilities, it wasn't difficult to find out about her past. "So you were the one who informed us," Rainbow said happily. "Thank you. You're welcome," Xianxiu, he said. "However, the forces from the inner regions will definitely take their anger out on you. You have to be careful in the future." "I will." Sima Yue nodded. "Weren't you sniffing the medicine here? How did you know about it?" Little Seven asked. "I don't have clairvoyance, but I have clairvoyance." Xianxiu, he smiled. "It must be your guards who told you," Little Seven said. Xianxiu, he didn't deny or admit it. He didn't plan to tell her that he sensed it. "Take this." Xianxiu, he took out a jade pendant and handed it to Sima Yue. "What is this? When you reach the inner regions, if you meet with any danger, you can show this to them. It might be useful." Xianxiu, he said. This was an orchid-shaped jade pendant. The flower on it was as clear and elegant as its owner. It was intoxicating. If only he could see it. Chapter 10:14. Kong Di's gaze and faint smile made her swallow the words of rejection that were stuck in her throat. "Thank you." Sima Yue took the jade pendant and made up her mind to find a way to let him see the world with his own eyes. She understood that people like him were very lonely. Because of his identity and body, he rarely had friends. Whenever he met someone he liked, he would want to treat that person well. If it's someone who knows about Xianxiu clan, they'll definitely buy it if you give it to them. If they don't know, it's just an ordinary jade pendant. Xianxiu, he said, so it's not 100% useful. Regardless of whether it was useful or not, this was his intention. She would remember this friendship. At the same time, At the place where the Sima family was staying, Sima Xian Shu and the others were excitedly telling Sima Lu Yun and Sima Lu Feng about what happened today. There was a thick stack of papers on the tea table in the main seat. It was the first-hand information sent by the Shadow Team. Uncle Lu Feng, you didn't see it. When the Taowu clan flew over and landed beside her, their formation wasn't any worse than when our people came out. Sima Yifei said, also, if it wasn't for Yu today, that guild's president would have died. That space seal was extremely beautiful. I don't think anyone in our generation is able to seal off such a large area. Moreover, it can withstand such a powerful attack. You can see how solid that space is. Sima Lu Yun and Sima Lu Feng only nodded. They weren't too agitated. Uncle Lu Feng, aren't you surprised? Sima Yifei called out when he saw their calm reactions. Surprised. Sima Lu Feng said. Then why are you so calm? Sima Lu Feng picked up the paper on the table. We already know everything that you've said. Didn't you guys not go to the competition? Sima Chi said. Sima Lu Feng didn't say anything and passed the paper to them. Sima Yiyun and the rest took it over to take a look. It had clearly investigated Sima Yoyue's recent affairs. Even the incident in the Dark Forest was her doing. This level of strength was truly admirable. Oh my God! The four of them gathered together to read, and they cried out in surprise again and again as they read. This is too perverted. Sima Yifei cried out after he finished reading. Is this really a person? Sima Chi said in disbelief. Could there be a mistake in the Dark Forest? The person mentioned here doesn't look like Yue. I didn't think of it at that time, but according to what happened later on, I can confirm that it's her. Sima Lu Feng said. Oh my God, this is too scary. She's only in her 30s, but she's experienced more than someone who's lived for 300 years. Sima Chi said. Compared to him, we're simply too weak. Sima Xian Shu said. That's right, but she is Uncle Lu Xian's daughter. Like father, like son. Sima Yiyun said. There are still some things that haven't been reported yet, but these are enough to shock people. If Lu Xian knew that his daughter was so powerful, he would definitely be very happy. Sima Lu Feng said, Uncle Lu Feng, you still haven't found Uncle Lu Xian's whereabouts? Sima Yiyun asked. No, but I already have a general direction. Sima Lu Feng said, do you know where he went? I know where he was last seen, but I don't know where he went. But with a general direction, it'll be easier to investigate. Sima Lu Feng said, didn't the clan forbid you from investigating? Those people. Sima Lu Yun snorted, full of disdain and dissatisfaction. You juniors shouldn't ask about Lu Xian's matters. Sima Lu Feng said, remember, Yoyue's news can't be leaked out. Don't let the clan know. I don't think so. Sima Xian Shu said, we're not the only power in the inner regions. Gu clan and those other clans have sent people over. Although we didn't say it, Yoyue's name is too easy to recognize. Once they hear it, they'll know that she's from our clan. There are very few people in the Yue generation, and there aren't many who stand out. But Gu clan is close to us, so they should know. Sima Yiyun said, who's the leader from Gu clan? Sima Lu Feng asked. Gu Shichao and their 15th elder. Sima Xian Shu said, they will talk to them and ask them to keep it secret. Sima Lu Feng said, no need. Sima Lu Yun said, why? If we look for them specially, they'll be interested in Yue instead. If we don't say anything, they might not say anything. Sima Lu Yun said, if they really find out, we'll explain it to them. That works too. Then the few of you shouldn't look for her casually. Keep a distance from her, and don't let them find out anything unusual. Got it? Sima Lu Feng said. Got it. Sigh. I really want to pry open Yoyue's brain and see the structure inside. How did Uncle Lu Xian give birth to such an evildoer? Sima Yifei sighed. When we're stronger, we'll be able to bring her home. Sima Yiyun said. We will. Sima Xian Shu said, I think, with her talent and ability, it won't be long before she can go back. She will. They all believe that day wouldn't be too far away. Sima Yue and the others stayed in the medicine garden until Mao San Quan contacted them to go back. They then left and went to the front to look for them. Yue, thank you for today. Xiaochang Tian looked at Sima Yue and cupped his hands in gratitude. If it wasn't for her, he reckoned that he would be done for today. President, you're too polite. Sima Yue stood to one side and avoided his bow, saying, this is what I should do. You bowing to me is too much. Not to mention his identity as the president, his age was enough for him to be an old man. She couldn't accept his bow to a young brat. President, the matter is almost settled. We'll head back first. Mao Sengquan said. Go on. You're tired today. Go back and have a good rest. Prepare for the competition later. Xiaochang Tian said, and then winked at Sima Yue. You have to work hard. I'm looking forward to your results. Sima Yue saw him winking at her, and goosebumps rose on her body. Why did she feel that this guy had an ulterior motive for smiling? What a scary smile. Gao Zhihong, who was at the side, knew what this guy was thinking. He probably wanted to get her into the guild. If her results in alchemy were good, it would be perfectly justifiable to get her in. Sima Yue saw Xia Chang Tian like that, and left the Alchemist Guild as if she was escaping. They went back to rest for 10 days. In these 10 days, Sima Yue brought Han Miao Shuang and the others to the Spirit Pagoda to go into seclusion. Although she hadn't advanced to 8th grade, she felt that she was infinitely close. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.